You're watching the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austin Show.
Oh, you got your brackets out? You have them filled out? They better not look blank like that. Oh, maybe mine does, one of them. I'm going to do a 5-minute bracket here on the show today, and you're going to compete against it, and we will see if you can steal some cash from us. Hey, everybody, and welcome to BestBet St. Augustine. We'll be here today and tomorrow. We've got the whole setup here. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, Jason Hamby back in the studios, and we've got TVs everywhere, full bar, menu. Plenty of games to be played back there as well. It's a heck of a setup to go, hey, get out of work early, join us for lunch around noon. Games tip off. We've got two best days, or two of the best days of the sports calendar. Whether you love college basketball or not, it doesn't matter, because you know what? You love this right here. The bracket. You know what else I thought about, Austin Lane, is why do we still feel like printing out a piece of paper?
Oh, man, I mean, it's tradition, Brent. You know, like there's something to be said about printing out a piece of paper, using that pen. I mean, I have my own highlighters at home that I use. Blue highlighters if they win, red highlighter if they lose. I mean, I have this all down to an exact science, and it's what I grew up with, man, and some things you just got to carry on with tradition.
Yeah, well, I think we do like to use that highlighter. I'm a big marker guy, right? Sharpie guy. I think I got one right here. I mean, if I got the red Sharpie out, so in case we can circle, check mark, X them out, you know, tally up those points. Here's the deal. We're going to be at BestBet St. Augustine today, tomorrow until 1 o'clock, 10 a.m. until 1 o'clock with the Brent and Austin show. So love for you to come on down. Check out the new digs down here. They're awesome. Right off exit 311 in 95. Well, if you're coming south, it's 95 south. If you're going up from Daytona or somewhere else, it's 95 north. You know how to get it. Right off 311. You'll see it every time you pass on 95, and we'll be here today and tomorrow. And Hamby throws out a game that we're going to play. Like, he's like, hey, how about an hour before the show, this March Madness stuff really sneaks up on you. So what if we just throw a new link out there and have everybody join the show? Very good planning, Hamby.
Yeah.
Very good. Your future wife, I can't wait to see how that works out for you if you're going to plan like that for the remainder of your life. But I love the idea. And so I've actually audibled a bit in the huddle. And we have on Twitter right now the password to get in, the link to get in, so you can see it on Twitter X, and probably share it on Facebook. Maybe even put it in the chat as well, if we can, Hamby, for the folks that are out of town. So we're gonna pick one bracket from the folks that can submit by noon, which is actually probably better. Like, Hamby landed on something better, so we don't have like a million of them to pick from.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot to, try to sift through and everything, so I appreciate just the one bracket to kind of work.
So we're going to go one bracket, and that bracket, that's going to be the people's bracket.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. And someone's going to represent the people.
Sure.
And they're going to play against us.
Yeah.
Right?
But best of luck to you, by the way.
Yeah. And, well, he's probably easy to beat, Hamby. I don't know. But if they beat one of us, we're going to throw some cash so they can use it here at Best Bet.
I like
their way. If they beat two of us, we're going to throw a little more.
Now, if
they beat three of us, even more.
Now, if I win, do I get to keep the cash for Best Bet?
No, this is
use myself.
No, this is all or nothing thing.
Gotcha.
If this is the people's choice, gets the money. Or no. Now, if that people's choice goes in fourth place, we keep them. I mean, it's not leaving my pocket.
Sometimes the people don't win. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. All right, bring it on.
But we can at least we can have some fun with that. Tomorrow we can check it. We can check it next week, obviously Thursday and Friday, and then all the way up through the Final Four. We'll see how we do it. So this is a little bit of a crapshoot on the NCAA tournament. It always is. It's tough. I think so many people, the mindset is you want to pick Cinderella, but then when you get the pen or you're doing it on a computer and you're like, I can't get Cinderella. I don't believe this is going to happen. So you end up with chalk toward the end, most likely. So many people think UConn.
I am one of those people.
They are going to win it again. They're the team to beat, which is funny to me because nobody's won back-to-back since Florida did it in 2006, 2007. And I mean, it's so hard to repeat in sports, yet across the board, people have a hard time knocking UConn out as the team to beat.
Well, and there's the thing about UConn, too, as well. I mean, arguably the best team in college basketball. Sorry, Houston, but you lost by 30 in your conference championship, so I can't come with you anymore, and you're going to exit early, I think. But with UConn, the best team in college basketball, and literally has to go through a murderer's row, I feel like probably the hardest region overall on this bracket, because there's some loaded teams that they have to get through to even get to the Final Four.
Here's the other part about UConn to me. UConn represents the Big East.
Mm-hmm.
The Big East, you could say, got screwed.
Correct.
In the tournament. So we have the best team in the country, the defending champs, and they only could get 3 teams in, I think it was, out of the Big East. Meanwhile, Providence, St. John's sitting at home, and we're watching Virginia get hammered by 30 against Colorado State. It's a little surprising amidst all that. Like, you can make the case for Indiana State. You can make the case for some others, no doubt. Everybody's always got a case to be made, even in a 68-team field. But it's a little surprising to me that UConn has carried the mantle of college basketball the last couple of years, in the Big East, still got a little bit of the shaft.
Yeah, it's wild to me. I mean, take into the Ken Palm, rank it, whatever you want to put into it. I mean, at the end of the day, the Big East is the Big East, and I think they are a competitive basketball conference. And I think, like, people haven't really talked about Marquette, and I'll break that down later as well. I think Marquette could be a team that goes deep on in this tournament as well. So the fact that the Big East, year in, year out, are, in my opinion, a respectable conference, kind of got shafted a little bit to a team like the Virginia, who we saw how that played out. True TV felt the need to make fun of them because the game was so boring. Tells you all you need to know about how they think about these rankings sometimes in the tournament.
Listen, again, it's a hard thing to do. You got to match resumes, very subjective when it comes to that. But the bottom line is, I just couldn't get. I was watching all the experts, right, picking UConn, and I mean, I'm going to try to stay away from UConn just because I don't like to go chalk. What fun is that? But I don't know how you can have UConn like the favorite amongst so many people out of that region, especially. Everybody's got UConn leaving it, and then you sit there and you're like, well, I mean, that had to add strength to a conference. I mean, you might be getting 2 automatic losses to the best team in the league. Like, that's got to count for something if you're on the bubble. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't seem like it really mattered to the committee. So I think that part's interesting. The chalk picks would be UConn, Purdue, Houston, and North Carolina. I don't think they're considered as chalky as those other 3 teams.
Yeah.
But North Carolina is a fascinating story. A couple of years ago, they go all the way to the championship game. They lose. And then they don't even go to the dance last year.
Yeah.
And now they're back as a number 1 seed and one of the favorites to win it all. That's a pretty wacky ride.
I mean, it's definitely a wacky ride. And to me, the wackiest of rides has to be Houston right now. Because the whole year, everyone was on Houston. They play a solid brand of defense. They can shoot. But towards the tournament, all of a sudden they just went cold, and especially against the Iowa State game. And listen, nobody plays better defense than Iowa State. I think they're averaging, I want to say 11 or 12 steals a game, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like, Iowa State's a fun team to watch, and you can always depend on their defense to kind of carry them through, especially in the tournament. I think back to, Virginia Common, I was at VCU, which Shaka Smart, in the full court press and everything. Iowa State does a lot of that, so I think they're going to be a tough out regardless, but they really exposed Houston, I thought. And to justify a number 1 seed, which I get, they have the resume, but a number 1 seed to lose by 30 points in your championship game, the last game that you played, going to the tournament now, you lost by 30 points.
Yeah.
How do you justify that team making a deep run when you have that performance in your championship game?
Yeah, I think it's a tough one to figure out. I do think there's a want to of the conference tournaments, like, hey, these teams are so desperate, or somebody's a little bit more motivated to get more seeding, to get in the tournament, to get the championship. Everybody wants to win a championship, I understand that, but it's hard not to look at those conference tournaments and see some of the top teams, and they get beat like every year. I mean, most of the top teams don't win their conference tournament, and you just feel like that's them catching a breath a little bit, trying to gear back up. Everybody else a little bit more desperate than them is the only way I can put it. But the tune of 30 points, right? I mean, that kind of blowout against Houston, that's got to scare you a little bit if you're the Cougars going into, obviously, the most important stretch of the season.
Absolutely. And, listen, I know that we want to sit here and say, for instance, Purdue.
Yeah.
Purdue's a team that has, let's call it call a spade a spade. They choked the past couple tournaments, and they have arguably the best player in the country in Zach Edey, but you wouldn't know it because they don't really advance in the NCAA tournament. And I get maybe they weren't taking the Big Ten tournament that seriously. Wisconsin beats them. Wisconsin puts on a pretty good showing, and now there is some love for Wisconsin. But at the same time, if you're trying to right your wrongs, and if you're trying to get to the tournament, get to the Final Four because everyone thinks you're gonna, I feel like you got to take the Big Ten tournament seriously, just because that gives you momentum then, in the big tournament. And the fact that they got beat by Wisconsin, Purdue scares me as well.
Well, listen, we're going to talk a lot about the NCAA tournament. We're going to do our brackets a little bit. We'll go through it, see where you get. I mean, we won't go blow by blow, but we'll get to, obviously, the Sweet 16, Elite 8, down to the Final Four championship. And right now on Twitter and social media, we'll continue to push it out there. But you can play along with us. We're going to have one big winner that is like the people's bracket, basically. They'll represent that. So a lot of pressure on whoever we pick to represent the people, but also maybe get some cash in their pocket if they can beat us over the next few weeks. So we'll have some fun that way with the NCAA tournament. Not very often that we don't start the show with a little football here, a little football there. There's like Gators Pro Day today, which is a very low-key pro day compared to last year with Anthony Richardson. Caleb Williams had his pro day. Maybe we'll get into that in a moment. But the big story in sports right now is somebody makes some sense out of what's going on with Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers. By the way, the Dodgers just lost to the Padres 15-11 in slow-pitch softball there in Seoul, South Korea. So that's one thing. The baseball season's underway. They split over there in Seoul in this a little mini series to kick off Major League Baseball season, which really kicks off next week. But how about the Shohei Ohtani stuff? It's the interpreter for him has been fired and accused of stealing or grand theft, I think they would call it, $4.5 million over time. But now there's some ties to say that's a protection to Shohei Ohtani, depending on what you read and see. I think ESPN reporting that these were wired directly from Ohtani. There's a lot going on here that's way too early to predict, but this could be a major issue for the face of Major League Baseball right now across the globe is Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously a distraction nonetheless. I mean, the season just started, and we're talking about a lot of money here and a guy that seemed to be a close friend of Ohtani. So we'll have to stay tuned to see how this all plays out. So correct me if I'm wrong. So did the guy gamble it as well? Is that like how it...
Well, I think the curiosity here is it really Ohtani?
Yeah.
And then he's taken the fall for him.
Yeah.
That's the curiosity. Depending on what you're seeing, believing, everybody's matching up, ESPN saying some things, or so where that lands, and I actually am watching like some TVs here at BestBet St. Augustine, and Roberts is talking right now. Dave Roberts, the manager of the Dodgers. I don't know how much is being asked about this. I think it's way too early to even know. But obviously people are talking about Ohtani for not the right reasons today.
Correct.
And even the distraction or the impact of the interpreter, let's just say that's what it is. Well, that's a pretty big deal. Yeah. Now you got a Major League Baseball investigate that a little bit. Now you've got somebody stealing from the company, a la what just happened with the Jags.
Yeah.
Or within your organization. Hard to trust. I mean, why are these folks stealing from within the organization if that's what happened? There's a lot of questions to be raised.
Well, there's a lot of questions, and obviously I think there's enough pressure on Ohtani already. I mean, you're getting this giant sum of money to play baseball, and all eyes are on you right now. Like, let's be honest, I'm pretty sure they went to Korea because of Ohtani. Like, that was a big part of it. So this guy right now is a global megastar, and to start the season off like this, and once again, we don't really know exactly everything that's transpired, but I'm sure it will come to light eventually. But a lot of unnecessary pressure added now to Ohtani, I feel like, and a lot of distraction to the Dodgers.
Yeah, so they're calling it massive theft, by the way, not grand theft, massive theft.
Okay.
And, here's where it gets muddy, okay? I'll just read this one paragraph. Initially, a spokesman for Ohtani told ESPN the slugger had transferred the funds to cover his interpreter's gambling debt. The spokesman presented Mizuhara, is how you say it, I believe, to ESPN for a 90-minute interview Tuesday night, during which he laid out his account in great detail. However, as ESPN prepared to publish the story Wednesday, the spokesman disavowed Mizuhara's account and said Ohtani's lawyers would issue a statement.
Okay.
If the course, quote, in the course of responding to recent media inquiries, we discovered that Shohei has been the victim of massive theft, and we are turning the matter over to the authorities, read the statement from the attorneys. So it's like, whoa, stop.
Talking yesterday in the dugout, and that's why it's a big deal, because people are thinking if you're a victim of mass theft, you're not going to be chopping it up with a guy in the dugout 2-3 hours before this huge story breaks out. That video was from yesterday during their game.
Yeah, and that's what kept going around, right? And that's so he's a long-time acquaintance of Ohtani. And so the Sun says incurred the gambling debts to a Southern California bookmaking operation that is under federal investigation. Multiple sources told ESPN how he came to lose his job started with reporters asking questions about the wire transfers. So somebody got wind of this, and then obviously the Dodgers got wind of it. Very reactionary, I think, to what Hamby was just saying, because they were just chopping it up in the dugout the other day, and then all of a sudden, boom, $4.5 million. Ohtani fire the interpreter, and are they still buddies? If he's got massive theft against Ohtani,
well, also, how does Ohtani feel if they are so good friends? How do they feel about the Dodgers firing him?
Well, that's a good point, too.
There's a lot of tentacles here, I feel like.
Well, and the bigger thing is that this comes off a couple of days ago where as Halliburton, right out of the NBA, basically saying that he feels like he's a prop in the betting world, right, based on a lot of the different prop bets, quite frankly, that go into scoring and rebounding and everything else. It's very fantasy football. To me, that doesn't feel any different than fantasy football. For when you played in the game in the early 2010s decade, fantasy football was really ramping up. It was hot. And you would have guys like Maurice Jones-Drew, who became a star, right, because he scored so many touchdowns. But then you'd have other players, if they didn't do well for your fantasy team, you got fans now yelling, hey, score, I need touchdowns, I need this. And that's where that has become. Well, now that we've evolved in the betting world, right, in sports, I think it's morphed from, you might still get it in fantasy football, but I think it's kind of morphed that way into the betting world, and my guess is these players hear it.
Well, of course they hear it, and especially now with gambling, being legal in so many more states in terms of having sports books on your phone and just literally a click of a button, you can place a bet. Players do hear about it more. And, with Tyrese Halliburton, obviously the pride of Oshkosh, Wisconsin, the guy's an assist machine, and he didn't cover an assist prop. He got a lot of backlash on Twitter and everything, and it's funny, and he brought up some good points, you never hear when you win people money.
Yeah.
They don't really thank you that much. But when you lose the money, they'll be the first ones to say something to you in your mentions or in your DMs and things like that. So it is a different realm now in terms of social media, in terms of that all access to the athletes, which is great. But also it comes with a downside as well. And one of those downsides is when your athlete, quote unquote, doesn't get you the money that you placed on a prop bet, you're probably going to let them know about it. So it's definitely a slippery slope. But I think it begs the question as well, and some players have brought this up before, with DraftKings or these sports books, should players get a cut of the profits because they're hearing all the negativity about it? They don't get any of the benefit, the reward of it. Should there be a cut that goes in, to a pie, and the players around the league split that up and they get compensated for being on these sports books? Yeah,
it's an interesting point. I think, first of all, let's just say this. Hey, Halliburton, hey, everybody else, if you're getting backlash, that ain't stopping, because the world continues to evolve around the betting in sports and more legalized states and everything else, and that's not stopping. We're not going backwards, okay? That's not going to stop. You bring up an interesting point. Would there be a pool of dollars that could go out to the players and split up? I think they have this. I think you were telling me a little bit about, I don't want to get too much in your business, but I think in the UFC or something, right? Where they'll actually cut the fighters. Yeah, something. I don't know if that comes from the UFC or actually the betting applications.
So I believe it's a negotiation through the UFC and the betting applications, because for UFC fights, only a certain betting application can use that.
Okay.
Per se. So they cut a deal with that one sports book, in terms of online mobile apps, whatever. So we get a percentage of that.
Of how much people were betting on you, because potentially, or how much of the whole thing during that pay-per-view event or during that event or
correct.
UFC 300 or whatever
exactly.
it was. Right?
Yeah, so and depending on how you're featured on a pay-per-view, something like that, then there's an escalator where you can get more.
So they actually kind of do it.
Yeah, for sure, because keep in mind, it's exclusivity, though.
Yeah,
you have other sports books that, every sports book has NFL props.
Yeah.
Not every sports book has the UFC stuff.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. So there maybe is a delineation there. Mm-hmm. But I think here's what I say to your suggestion of, should the players get a piece of the pie? I'm not against it. I don't know what that is and how much that should be, and if it's 3% or 5% or whatever. I doubt it happens. But I also think all sports right now are being buoyed by this betting gambling world that has become more legalized. It has more eyes on it, that has more attention to it, it has more people involved in it. I mean, we all know, we all think that a little bit of betting, but a lot of bit of fantasy football helped raise the profile of the National Football League to heights that they've never seen before. I mean, that is part of the equation. That's a real thing. We just don't love football that much, folks. I mean, there's a real investment here, whether you're a fan or not. And actually, that's even changed the way fandom is, because you're more invested in your fantasy football team or your daily fantasy or whatever else now than maybe even if your team actually wins. I mean, red zone, real life. That's real life stuff. That's the sport has grown. And so what I say, the domino effect, if I was like the betting world, I'd say, listen, we're already helping your sport grow. We're already helping more money flow into your sport. And therefore, as the players work out CBAs and other things, you're getting more and more a piece of that pie anyway, which has raised the dollars, which continues to in the NFL, raise the salary cap and raise salaries. So I think there already is the mechanics of that under, working. Mm-hmm. I don't mind the players for asking for it and saying it, but I think if I was on that side of it, I'd be like, we're already doing that. We're already feeding more money into your salary cap in the NBA and other places.
No, for sure. Yeah, it just, to me, it depends, like, where's that money coming from, right? Like, is that money coming from the sports books? Well, probably not, right? Yeah. So, I mean, compensation is like, do I feel bad for Halliburton for getting hate on Twitter? No, you're making millions and millions of dollars. I mean, it comes with the territory, But at the same time, I can see the point where it's saying, all right, well, you're getting all this hate because you didn't get over 10.5 assists or whatever the case may be, and now you're getting hate for it. Well, it stems directly from these sports books on these apps, and they're making millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars off your name. Should you be compensated? I think there's a debate to say maybe you should a little bit.
Is that similar to NIL? Is that kind of the same principle?
Yeah, I think it very well could be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little different animal because players aren't getting salaries to begin with, right? But there's a lot of money that has flooded the market in college football, college basketball, college sports in general, mostly those two sports. Mm-hmm. And I think that's basically why we've gotten to the point where NIL is a thing and players want a piece of the pie. So I guess the principal part of it is kind of under the same umbrella.
Yeah, I mean, listen, once again, I'm not campaigning for professional athletes to get paid a lot. I mean, they're making plenty of money, all right? So don't get it twisted. But I also understand that if your jersey sells with your name on it, you get money for that. You get money for being in Madden. All right, you get money for if you have like a pro model cleat, you get a percentage of that. Like, you get money for a lot of things involving your obviously image and likeness, but you don't see a fraction of that. You don't see anything from that when your name is on gambling sports books. So I think it warrants a question. I think it warrants a discussion. I don't have the answer of saying what's fair, how much, what percentage, but I think it warrants just asking the question.
Well, here's one other thing about that, too, just to put a bow on this topic, because I do think it's kind of complicated. This is just kind of brushing the surface of this topic with Halliburton, with now the Ohtani stuff, which is totally different. I mean, the Ohtani stuff could be you got to dig a lot deeper on that. You don't know what that is. I mean, is that related to baseball? Is that related to other sports? I mean, now we're talking a whole different kind of deal. Mm-hmm. But I do think if you end up going that way in pro sports, where let's just say they come to an agreement where all these betting entities do give a slice of it, a little slice of it, to the pro sports to be split up. Well, now you're going to get into a point where the college sports athlete is going to want the same thing. Most likely. Because keep in mind, this tournament that starts today, it's got to be one of the most bet on things that exist in our sports calendar, right?
True, but are there player props, though? I mean, there might be. I'm not sure if there's player props in the NCAA tournament or if it's just
Hamby, are there player props in college? I got to believe there are, right? I think everything's on the table.
On most books, there are not, but that's one of those things where it's going to really depend on your book and how in-depth they are. But on most, there are not for college athletes.
There may be some restrictions on that. I didn't know about. So if there aren't now, there will be soon enough.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We know that part. Hey, baseball game in the books. The Padres do get the win 15-11. We got plenty of TVs to watch a little bit of everything today, and it all starts right afternoon, of course, with the NCAA tournament round number 1. 2 terrific days. We'll go over some of the brackets, some of the storylines, and we'll talk some football when we come back as well. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, the Brent and Austin Show, and we are live at BestBet St. Augustine. Come on out. Play the table games. Come on out. Have some fun watching the NCAA tournament. Have a drink. Great menu. Sushi and fries, hopefully on the slate for lunch for us.
Brent, it's 10:30. Have a drink.
Have it.
Hey, man. Okay.
Hey,
it's Thursday. Why
close
not?
to lunch.
Thirsty Thursday.
Close to lunch. In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot, any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580. It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
I've been forecasting the weather for a long time, and no matter where I go, I always get asked the same question.
Hey, Mike, what's the weather gonna be like?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, hey, what's the weather going to be like?
I don't mind being asked because I always have the answer. Great day for a perfect round of golf. Hey, a little rain later today. So go ahead, ask me.
Hey, Mike, I'm heading out. What's the weather like tonight?
It's the same question, even at home.
Mike Burrish, he's got your weather answer on Action News Jacks.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too. When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
Things are heating up, and the UNF baseball and softball teams are warmed up more than a third of the way through their seasons, and both Ospreys teams on the diamond are off to good starts. Recent Pitcher of the Week honors in both sports. Both teams have done well with the home cooking early in their schedule, and the early tests on the road have gone well too. The A-Sun season is here now. UNF baseball and softball trying to make some noise in conference play. Go watch the Ospreys play. Go to UNFOspreys.com for more information on schedules and tickets. Plus, keep up with all the sports results and stories. UNFOspreys.com.
When strong storms threaten and your safety is on the line, nothing beats accuracy. Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish and the First Alert Weather Team. Your safest place to be during a storm is Action News Jax.
I'm Action Sports Jack Stuart Weber. Please join me and the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation in Northeast Florida for our annual Take Steps Walk, right here at Memorial Park on April 13th. The event is dedicated to finding cures and raising awareness for digestive diseases. Join us by registering now at actionnewsjax.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back to BestBet St. Augustine, and there's a look at all the TVs they have right here, including our show up on the big board there. There'll be some games to be played and, wagers to be made as well for some of the horse racing around the country. You can always do that here at BestBet St. Augustine, also Jacksonville and Orange Park. But we are down BestBet St. Augustine today and tomorrow, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. with the Brent and Austin Show. And good to have you along with us here on a Thursday as we get set for the NCAA tournament. I'm going to do a 5-minute bracket here in a bit, and that's the one you're going to have to beat. The thing we have going is go to social media on Twitter. We pushed out a link that you can join our bracket. And we're going to pick one of the brackets to play against us. And if you beat one of us, well, you get a little something. If you beat two of us, you get a little more. If you beat three of us, well, you get the whole jackpot. Just like playing out there and hitting a bonus.
Absolutely.
On the table games.
You know what, Brent? I like to take people behind the scenes every once in a while, and I think I've come to the conclusion why your eyesight's going so bad, because you literally have us on the sun right now with the, I hope the picture looks great. I hope the picture looks fantastic.
Look at the picture,
because
by the way.
I can't see anything.
The picture does look great.
Okay, great. Because I know you're a perfectionist when it comes to how we come across, on our app. I'm talking about the Action Sports Jax 24/7 app, or the Action News Jax 24/7 app, Brett. You know what I'm talking about. But, hey, Hamby, during the break, if you could look up Seeing Eye Dogs for me, because I can't see anything right now, and I have about another 2 hours before my eyesight goes completely. And I had great eyesight, man.
Yeah,
I took pride in that.
2015 or something.
I had 2015, man. I was dominating. That was yesterday. Today, go and give me a 40-40 or something, man, because this is ridiculous.
Maybe that's what's happened to my eyes in the last couple of years.
Hey, you think? We're on the sun.
Yeah, the lights are bright, but the shot looks good, man. That's all that matters.
Brent's trading eyesight for how we come across.
No, listen, I actually sound like our guys that shoot us for TV when we're out in the field. Yeah. So Stuart and Marcel, and Stuart just doesn't care. Okay. He's like, I don't care if you can't see, this shot looks good.
Yeah.
And because the videographer, the camera, they got a pride. They want the shot to look good.
Yeah.
They really don't care if you can see. Yeah. So sometimes, when we're in the field, say we're at the Players' Championship, you will be looking, because you want to be looking into the sun, toward the sun. That's where the best shot would be from the camera angle. Well, sometimes, man, you are looking right into the sun, to the point where if I'm doing a report on TV and you're squinting, your eyes are watering. You can't do it, or you're looking down a lot. That's because you're looking right into the sun. So I've been there before. Okay. Now I'm well trained.
Sure.
The retinas are probably gone, or whatever that works.
They're done.
So now this is like you doing shin training. Right?
Sure, yeah.
Your shins are shot?
Yep, correct.
Right? I could kick you in the shin. It wouldn't matter right now.
Yeah.
For me, I would be crying.
Yeah.
Well, now that's my eyes have been tested, conditioned, and yours aren't.
Oh, no. These are virgin eyes, Brent. These eyes haven't seen anything. Well, set aside from the old dude on the toilet yesterday that I accidentally walked in on, at the gym. Haven't forgotten that image. But needless to,
that's still burned in there.
Oh, yeah. That's still ingrained. Never going to leave, I think. But needless to say, we have so many great TVs here at Best Bet that I won't be able to watch because, I can't look up. So I'm literally just looking down. But once again, I hope the shot looks great. I feel like I'm in interrogation right now. Like the dude from the Jaguars that's all that money, whatever his name was. This is exactly how he was feeling, and then the FBI asked him all the questions. So all right, so how much money did you really spend on FanDuel and stuff like that?
Amit Patel, by the way.
Amit Patel, yeah. Hey, Amit, man, I feel you with these bright lights, dude, because I'd be cracking in 2 seconds.
Hey, by the way, was that guy a winner at the end of the day? 6.5 years. That's all he got.
Well, that's all it was?
I think that's all he got. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if that was a win or not.
Well, are we talking is he doing time in San Quentin or? Well, I mean, it could be a white collar minimum, security prison.
Yeah.
It could be San Quentin. Where's he doing?
I don't know. I don't know all the details, but really the question there, Hamby, was, $22 million to live high on the hog for 4 or 5 years or whatever.
Oh, I'd do that all day, man.
For 6.5 on the other side.
Son's got to come see me. He has visitation rights. We'll have to figure that out. But living high on the hog for that long,
Hamby, you can do it, right? Not worth it, you're saying?
Oh, Hamby wouldn't last in jail.
6.5 years.
You think Hamby's going to last in jail?
I thought he was going to get like 25 years. I think he could have got up to 30 at one point. I don't know. I didn't see the whole thing.
Well, he has to pay the money back too, right?
How does that happen? That's what I was always curious about. That, how do you pay 22.5
IOUs? IOUs, man. A little every single month.
The guy who
let's just
make him wash dishes in the stadium. Make him wash dishes in the stadium for the next 50 years of his life.
That's what I'm saying, though. Let's just say you go get a normal job, right?
Yeah.
And he's making, if he's working at some grocery store or whatever, I don't know what you make these days, making $15, $17 an hour.
Sure.
Do you have to make, does a cut of that go?
I'd assume so.
Does all of it? Do you get to live? When you get out, you get to pay your bills. How do you
gotta?
What kind of payment plan is this?
That's a pretty legit. The great grandkids will be paying that payment plan, man, for real. Imagine not even being born yet. You have to take care of your great grandfather's mistakes. It's fun.
That's the reverse. The reverse of generational wealth.
Yeah. Generational debt.
Generational.
Yeah,
debt.
Man.
I guess it is. The Florida Gators have pro day today, by the way, and that is kind of lackluster down there because last year was Anthony Richardson. Yeah. This year it's Ricky Pearsall, and I don't even think he's doing anything. So Caleb Williams was yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Reports saying that he did pretty good. Yeah. Wasn't mind-blowing, but pretty good.
I think Keenan Allen was there, which was kind of interesting. Did you see that?
I didn't see that part, but
yeah, I think I saw a tweet where it said Keenan Allen was there, in Chicago stuff. That is pretty cool. Right? Yeah, because he's out in LA. I'm sure still. So yeah, this is the pro day from Caleb. Yeah, he can throw the football and he can throw it far. Should we be surprised? There's Keenan Allen right there. How good is Caleb Williams going to be, man? I have a hard feel on this one, and I don't know if some of it's because everybody tried to throw the generational tag on Trevor.
Yeah.
And it hasn't. Listen, I think Trevor's fine. I think he's going to continue to be good, but it hasn't been generational Peyton Manning yet, Andrew Luck yet, Patrick Mahomes yet. You're not getting any of that. Caleb Williams is now assigned with that label, right? He didn't ask for it, but he's close to that label, or at least can't miss it. People have been talking about him for a couple of years, much like they were talking about Trevor. How good's he going to be?
I think, obviously there's some things in terms of the mentality, right? People have some questions about that. I think what really knocks him too, and it's not his fault, is the fact that he hasn't won a national championship.
Yeah.
And believe me, that wasn't his doing. He played it on a team whose defense was as porous as the day is long.
He did not play as good last year, even offensively, though.
Yeah, but once again, his defense did him zero favors.
Yeah, they were really
bad. They're horrible, which kind of gives you more credit to SEC teams, credit to Alabama, credit to Georgia in the past, where great defense, but also pretty high-powered offenses as well. You don't see that so much in the Pac-12, I feel like, but nevertheless, it's hard to gauge. I do like the situation that he's going to be in Chicago, Brent. I think he can hit the ground running right away. So could he be a top 10 quarterback his first year? I think I would probably maybe top 12.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he is set up to be in a pretty good situation for what they put around him. They've learned from their mistakes. I just was not wowed by, as we watched more of him last year, knowing that he was going to be this top pick, I wasn't just blown away by him. I think in the back of your mind, there's some of these weird red flags. Mm-hmm. He obviously has great skill set, or we wouldn't be put in this category. But I almost feel like he's been shoved in a category without doing enough. That we've seen with our eyes. Sure, you can watch plays, you can watch the throws. He can do it all. He gets the comparisons to Patrick Mahomes, really, and some of the things that he can do. But I just don't know. This is a dangerous place to be for a player when you're projected to be this, when you're labeled to be so good before you even take a snap in the NFL, which is very difficult. And we just talked about earlier this week, the 2021-2022 class, they're not even putting great shakes by their organization to begin with, and it's hard enough to make the transition even if you're in a good situation.
So I always look at it like this when you're evaluating the quarterback position, especially, quote unquote, a generational talent. It's more of what you see from the good, right? Like, no quarterback's perfect in college, right? There could be mechanical flaws, interceptions, they make mistakes, things like that. But I'm always reminded of a guy like Josh Allen coming out of Wyoming, where if you look at his last year in Wyoming, the numbers were pedestrian at best. But you saw Josh Allen and you said, okay, well, this guy's a big-bodied quarterback. Dude's got a cannon. He has shown some great. I mean, the great that he did show was really, really great, but obviously didn't play with a team that provided him to maximize his talent that were around him. He goes to the Buffalo Bills, and the rest is history. So I think we're just grading off of what it could look like, what their best has looked like, and in terms of big-time throws, in terms of mechanics and things like that, like, yeah, Caleb Williams is a pretty clean passer, and he's also had some pretty big throws as well.
Yeah, we'll see how good he is. I just don't have. I'm not gonna. I don't have a great feel for it. It's hard for me to have a strong opinion on, this guy's it. Right? Mm-hmm. Trevor was easy to do that. He's 6'6". He can make a lot of the throws. Look what he had done in college right away. It wasn't going to be too big for him because right away he went to college and shined and won a national championship. He had always won. He had always been good. And I know a lot of these guys are always good and always win and stuff. But, I mean, Trevor, it was easy to buy into all that talk because you saw it. And, of course, it's easier to get geeked up when he's coming to Jacksonville, too, about some of that stuff. I think there's plenty of excitement and reason to be excited for a team like Chicago. I just think we as football fans now, or people that watch it from an analytical point of view, I think it's hard to really tell. I don't know how we can look at the recent trend of the 2021-2022 quarterback and say, these guys are going to be great.
Yeah.
I mean, don't we just have to wait and see? Are we going to keep doing that? Or are we just going to wait and see and see how these organizations treat them? Is he mature enough? Like, we don't know that part. Can he process it all quick enough? We don't know that part. Mm-hmm. Like, how is he on a board? No idea. All those things. That doesn't mean they won't take him number one. Everybody thinks they can make everyone better, right? And so that's the organizational view. Most every offensive coordinator thinks they can take you if you can throw a football pretty good and make you a good quarterback. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is what we've learned is that's not an easy thing to do because we got a lot of guys that can throw the football. Well, we don't have a lot of really good quarterbacks.
No, for sure. And once again, I think it comes down to more of just being in the right environment for you. Right, like a lot of quarterbacks, whether they turn out to be great players, Pro Bowlers, All Pros, or busts, it all depends on the environment that you find yourself in. I mean, look no farther than C.J. Stroud this past season. C.J. Stroud from Ohio State, there's been a long list of Ohio State quarterbacks who, let's be honest, haven't really panned out too well. Stroud comes in, does this thing, looks like he's going to, be a top 10 quarterback for years and years to come. One would think he's probably going to take another step forward this up-and-coming season. Well, Stroud has a great coach, has a great receiving core, had the running game, had a defense that pretty much had his back as well, but he was set up to succeed. I think with Caleb Williams, the guy can throw a football. Congratulations, you're number one overall. But I think it's more about having those Keenan Allens, having those DeAndre Swifts, having a defense to have your back is only going to gain his confidence and also make him a good quarterback.
I don't think it's an easy situation for guys like Jaden Daniels or maybe even an Anthony Richardson to come into, or where Mac Jones was picked at number 15. I think it's a better situation to come into, though. The expectation is high, but it's not nearly as high as it was for a Trevor, right? Or for a Zach Wilson, or for Drake May, and now Caleb Williams and those guys. It's just at least a little bit more advantageous to come in where the expectation isn't like you're going to be the next Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, everybody else. Now, unfortunately for Mac, he had to go replace Tom Brady, so it's a different element there. So I do think some of that in our eyes and everybody else's eyes speaks to, okay, what is your year one expectation? How do they deliver? How patient are we going to be? Sooner or later, patience will run out with every fan base. But it's going to have to start pretty fast for Caleb Williams, what they put around him, and he's going to have to show things, and hopefully he does. You obviously wish these guys would be really good and deliver. It's a tough gig when you don't. Let's take a break. We're live. Best Bet St. Augustine. Come on out until 1 o'clock. Just open the doors here in the 10 o'clock hour here at Best Bet St. Augustine, and the lunch hour should be a fun one because up on those TVs we will have the NCAA tournament along with several other things, including our show, which is up there right now. Table games, lunch. Come on by, say hello. Today and tomorrow we will be here at Best Bet St. Augustine. Mark Long sharing some information about Trent Baalke in the last little bit about Gators Pro Day. We'll get to that topic and what it might mean when we come back here on the Brent and Austen Show.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we are a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 0.9% for eligible buyers on Terrains and no payments for 90 days. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-701-7549. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained. And they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
Thank you for making Action News Jax the best in Jax and Folio's Best of Jax 2023. Best TV station, Best TV newscast, Best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted Best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted Best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted Best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, Best news website and Best local blog, The Burrish Blog. Thank you for making Action News Jax local coverage you can count on.
Stop by the new car sales event happening right now at Greenway Kia at the Avenues. $500 in a job gets you in a Kia. And Michael Montiero and the staff here at Greenway Kia are here to make it happen. Experience great customer service and become a part of their family. And while you're here, check out the Kia Forte GT line, full of comfort, innovation, and has driver assist technology. And how about the affordable new Kia EV9, the fast-charging, all-new electrical SUV with high-performance capability, 3-row seats with 304 miles of maximum driving range. Over 1,000 new Kia models, some starting at $199 a month. And as always, get the 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Come shop at Greenway Kia at the Avenues, located on Phillips Highway. You can shop online at greenwaykiaattheavenues.com. And remember, $500 and a job gets you in a Kia at Greenway Kia at the Avenues.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Hey, there's a look at the Miller Electric Center. We show you that just about every day on the show because we always wonder what's going on inside there. Well, what's interesting is there's a report out of Gainesville that Trent Baalke is still inside the building instead of in Gainesville. But he was expected to be in Gainesville today to take a look at Ricky Pearsall, the receiver for the Florida Gators. And this coming from Mark Long as we welcome you back to BestBet St. Augustine. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane. We are live here. Brent and Austin shows. We kick off the NCAA tournament today. A little quiet now, of course, as doors just opened at 10 o'clock. Hopefully, great place to watch some games and see you here right around lunchtime as the games kick off and you start getting. I know what happened here today, too. Not just today, but all across the area and probably the country. Everybody's like, I'm going into work early today. I'm going to get some work done. Probably. I bet people show up to work today earlier than most days of the year to get their stuff done and get out.
Yeah.
And then go find where they're going to go or whatever to watch the games starting a little bit after noon today. But back to the Florida Pro Day, does this indicate anything from the Jacksonville Jaguars, what they're doing, and the look at wide receiver? Here's what Mark said. Jaguars GM Trent Baalke was supposed to attend UF Pro Day. The Jags even sent a camera crew for their in-house production called The Hunt. But Baalke apparently backed out when wide receiver Ricky Pearsall opted out of workouts. Potential insight into what Jax is thinking with second-round pick. I mean, I'm not really sure there's a big story there outside of, I think there's some more tea leaves adding up to say the Jags are really looking for a wide receiver early in this draft. And even right now with the Ayuks and T. Higgins out there, they are exploring, in my opinion, all options at the wideout spot.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you have to do your due diligence. Not to say like Ricky, Pearsall was on the top of the list per se, but I think when you have definitely a need at wide receiver, taken in the first, second round, you got to check all your boxes. And he was one of those boxes. He didn't do his pro day. Don't show up. Nothing too crazy there, I feel like.
Yeah, here's the deal. I don't like the idea of this as much because I want the Jags to take wide receiver in round 1, and I don't think Pearsall's going at number 17.
Well, no, but also keep in mind, I don't think Pearsall really he's more of a slot.
Yeah.
And, you have a guy in Christian Kirk that's going to move Christian Kirk to the outside again, but, I don't think that's going to be the play. So, I think you just kind of do your due diligence, see what these receivers look like, but I would probably be a little disappointed if they went with Ricky Pearsall, just from the standpoint of I don't see him fitting in the system.
Let's go back to the whole idea of the Jags looking for a wide receiver, though. I mean, it's pretty apparent that they want somebody else, right? They want another top receiver in some capacity going into this football season. And simply by this, Austin, they wanted to keep Calvin Ridley. And if you didn't get to keep Calvin Ridley, and they really wanted to do so, they thought he might even be coming back. They almost pulled that off. Isn't that the clearest indication of, okay, well, they didn't pull it off. Mm-hmm. And that was already after they got Gabe Davis. This wasn't like, hey, they got didn't get Calvin Ridley, so they got Gabe Davis. No, that wasn't the way this went down. They got Gabe Davis, and they still wanted to get Calvin Ridley. I mean, every indication is they want another receiver.
Yeah, of course, without a doubt. Anything to help out Trevor Lawrence. And once again, I think we can both agree here there will be some deeper guys you can take in the second round, but I think fans will be disappointed if you don't try to address it in the first round. Now, whether either remains a mystery. There's going to be, I think, a top-end load of guys getting taken early at the wide receiver position because it is so top-heavy as well. But if the Jaguars can get their guy, you have to get your guy.
Yeah, well, there's a... So I think this is a good conversation because you don't usually get a team that will tip their hand in the draft. They like to cover all their bases. Sure, could the Jags go corner? Could the Jags go receiver? Could the Jags add some depth on pass rush if somebody fell to them? The Jags have options. They might even go offensive line for that matter. They could surprise you. I don't think they've necessarily tipped their hand, but I do think what they've tipped their hand about is they want another receiver. I mean, they want to acquire another receiver. And I like it. I like the aggressive nature. I think maybe the old Jags organization, and I don't know what old is. Old might be last year. Old might be 3 years ago. Old might be 10 years ago. I think the Jags organization says, hey, we're good. Listen, we're fine. Zay Jones had a career year here when he stayed healthy. Christian Kirk was on his way to 2 straight career years. We got Gabe Davis, big play guy, 16.9 a catch. Evan Ingram coming off a 100-catch season. ETN, he can catch it out of the backfield. We're good. And I love the fact that the Jags are saying, we're not good. Like, we need more. We're going to get more. We need to find a way to get more, whether that's Ayuk, Higgins trade. Does that make sense? Maybe not from a business standpoint. 17th, okay, if that doesn't work out, 48th, you end up moving around, trading up, whatever, go covet a guy. I do think they are going to have another receiver on this roster, either from the first, second round, or from a trade by the time we get to May.
Let me ask you this, though, because once again, I think we can both agree they're trying to find a one receiver.
Yeah.
I don't think the Jaguars have a one receiver right now. Like, yes, Christian Kirk's the go-to guy, but is he your one receiver? I don't think so. If the Jaguars wait to get the receiver in the second round, are you confident then that guy can come in and be the one receiver?
Less.
Correct.
Right, less. But I also am not as, and I get we've had this conversation, and where does he fit? And that's why you would say the same thing like Pearsall. Wait a minute, isn't he more of a slot guy? Then what's that do to Christian Kirk? I think they can do more things with their receivers, and especially in today's age where there's a bunch of versatility. People move in and out. I mean, you've got guys going the outside, inside. It seems like they want to cross-train everybody to play the slot, right? I mean, CeeDee Lamb from outside to better in the slot, whatever. So I do have more confidence in Zay Jones than I think the rest of this town does right now. I don't think like Zay Jones is, you got to get rid of him. I think Zay Jones can be part of it. And does that mean if you get in the second round guy and name your guy that could be available in the second round, do you get to bring him along a little slower, but he could still be very good? We've seen plenty of second round receivers be very good. So I don't hate it.
Okay.
And I think part of the reason I don't hate it is because in my mind, I've kind of said, all right, listen, this isn't a mark on Balky. I mean, Balky just doesn't do this. He's picked a receiver once in the first round, and that came at number 30. He's not spending a 17th overall pick on wide receiver. I'd like him to. I'd like him to move up even and get one of the guys that he really covets and be really aggressive with this. But the MO on Balky says he's not taking the first round guy. So if you're not going to take the first round guy, the trades don't work out because it's too much to give up or business-wise doesn't make sense, then you better take a second round guy. And if you get beyond that, now I'm starting to get a little bit worried. I want a receiver early in this draft for Trevor Lawrence and this Jags offense.
Well, and here's the thing. I get it's not Trent Baalke's MO to draft a wide receiver. Understand it. May not happen. This team's MO, though, needs to be helping Trevor Lawrence at all costs. And I think that if you take a receiver in the second round, not knowing if he's going to be a day one contributor or not, maybe he fits in with Zay Jones someplace. How does that help Trevor Lawrence? I think the help that Trevor Lawrence needs to get the most out of Trevor Lawrence, because once again, we've talked about this the whole time, the biggest thing right now was Josh Allen, number one, obviously getting him paid, which hopefully will happen, but also is making sure Trevor Lawrence has all the tools needed to succeed. If you talk about a second-round receiver, there could be some growing pains. There could be some developmental stuff, as opposed to taking a first-round receiver who you would think if you can take it at 17, hopefully one of those guys falls to you where you can put him in right away. Hey, here you go, Trevor. Here's another weapon. Have fun with it.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. I don't think they're going to look at it like that. I think if they find a player that's in the top 50 of this draft and one of them's a receiver and that's the guy they pick, I think you're going to say, hey, he can come in and contribute right away. I think they'll say that. I don't think they're going to take somebody in the second round and say, hey, yeah, it might take him a couple years. Now, I might say that. I might agree with you. I just don't think that they're going to think that. I think that guy, whoever they take, if it was at 48, let's say, is going to come in and make an impact right away for them.
No, I hear you. And listen, and I'm sure they'll, who knows, maybe it'll be an edge rusher, right? And then they're going to say, well, the best value was at the, at the edge rushing spot. The best value was at the cornerback spot. That's fine. But the best value to me is helping out your foundational quarterback that we all agree is supposed to be the next big thing, but we haven't quite seen the biggest strides in doing that. And now you take an edge rush, you take a corner, you take an offense, whatever the case may be, but you don't take a wide receiver. I just think you're doing Trevor Lawrence a disservice if you don't go that road.
Yeah, and I think that's fair enough. We'll take a break. When we come back, 11 o'clock hour here from BestBet St. Augustine. We're live with the Brent and Austen show. We'll be here tomorrow as well as the NCAA tournament kicks off. We'll do my 5-minute bracket before noon. In a commercial break, just boom. Bracket that I'm going to submit. Not a lot of homework done there, but we will do that. You can play along with our game as well. Just hit Twitter, and you can see I retweeted it about an hour ago now from Jason Hamby. He's got the link and the password to get in, and you can get in our game. You got another hour to do that. We'll pick one for the People's Champ that will play against us, and some prizes on the line when you do that. So sign up and participate, if you will, play against us for the NCAA Tournament 2024. But when we come back, I want to stay with football for a second and Trent Baalke. And think about this for the next few minutes. Would you characterize Trent as aggressive or conservative so far with the Jacksonville Jaguars? That's coming up next, live from BestBet St. Augustine. Alive Credit Union cares about our community. After all, it was founded by people in our community 70 years ago by a group of Florida Blue employees. And the mission still is to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. In here, they are more than just a bank. You can find Alive in the community providing financial education to our youth, sharing programs that are geared toward building credit and rebuilding credit, and supporting causes with amazing organizations like the American Lung Association. This March, Alive Credit Union will be back for the 6th time as a longtime sponsor of the American Lung Association's Fight for Air Climb. The event is March 23rd downtown. Get your team of climbers, family, friends, co-workers. The event will be emceed by Action News Jax's Garrett Biedenbaugh. Be a part of our community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Navigating to that perfect car can be a daunting task. Trust me, I understand, but if you want to find the perfect blend of sales and service for your automotive needs, look no further than the Tom Bush family of dealerships.
Here at Tom Bush, they do things right. Dating back to 1970, they've been a staple in the community, giving back and keeping everything local. With 4 different brands to choose from, BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, and many, there's a car for every member of the family, and the customer service is second to none. Looking to add an electric vehicle to your fleet? Tom Bush remains at the forefront of new technology with plenty of staff on hand to walk you through the future of driving and help eligible customers file for that EV tax credit.
Whether you're looking for your future driver's first car or you want to step up to luxury and arrive in style, the Tom Bush family of dealership is the only stop that you need to make.
Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory at tombush.com.
Go where all the pros go. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute takes care of athletes at the highest level, like the Jacksonville Jaguars players. They will take care of you, too. Our team covers a lot of teams here in Jacksonville: FSCJ, JU, the Axemen, the Jumbo Shrimp, the Sharks, and, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars. JOI covers all those teams as well. And then there's youth sports. My kids play baseball and softball. And whenever we have an injury question, the first call is to JOI. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute has been serving Jacksonville for 30 years. And they have over 30 specially trained physicians and assistants at 5 locations in the area. If your injury is specific to an area of the body, JOI has a specialist. They also are leaders in robotic surgery, joint replacement, and sports medicine. JOI Rehab has 13 locations and 90 therapists to get you better. Comprehensive care with caring physicians and staff at JOI. From youth sports to high school, college, and the pros, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. JOI,
Go where all the pros go.
Get outside.
Yeah.
Make friends. Learn life lessons with the First Tee.
Golf is kind of like life in a way.
You can take some stuff you learn on the course and take that and use it in every single day life.
Donate to First Tee's Play Day campaign and everybody wins.
For every $10 you've donated, you're entered to win a free round with a buddy
at the Stadium Course, home of the players, with this guy, Len Matisse. Scan the code on your screen or visit actionnewsjax.com to learn more.
I'm Action News Jax First Alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. Well, the sun is up and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jax This Morning team, helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, there's a look at the Jags free agent class and a trade mixed in, of course. And that doesn't include everybody because they signed a kicker, Joey Sly, and then they also signed Trevis Gibson, a pass rusher. It might be a sneaky good depth play at pass rush. Does have 11 career sacks, and he comes to Jacksonville. Those were moves that were made Monday. Of course, you've got Mac Jones coming over in a trade, and then all the other acquisitions during free agency. And I'll continue to pound this point home. I think, look at those uniforms, the Bills, the Ravens, the Niners, the Packers. These are usually winning programs, right? Usually playoff teams, and how much does that matter? And even I think you can throw Mac in there with the Patriots. It comes from a very good organization. They know what it takes. I wonder how big a deal that is. We actually put a little clip out from our show yesterday on that very topic, so you can always catch some of the highlights of the show on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and Twitter and everywhere else. We are all over the place, including on the new Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Been up and running. We started no gate fees yesterday. We had some extra content up there on actionnewsjax.com and the Action News Jax app, and it's the easiest place to follow along with our show. You can follow along with us every day, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. Brent and Austin Show, Brent Martineau Austen Lane, live at BestBet St. Augustine, and just open the doors, mid-morning is when they open up around here, and things pick up throughout the day. Of course, it should be plenty of TVs to watch the NCAA tournament while you're playing, have some fun, and the cool part of this place is you don't have to be just a poker player. You just play the table games from novice level to experience level. You got it all here, plus some really good food and drink, and you got yourself a heck of a day or a heck of a night out heading into the weekend. Put it on the spot to be list here at BestBet St. Augustine, like we are today and tomorrow. All right, before the break, I asked a question about Trent Baalke. Would you label him so far in his tenure, and I don't mind if you include his time really with Urban Meyer, because technically he was the player acquisition guy, even though I do think Urban was the heavy guy in that relationship. Yeah. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Do you think he's been aggressive conservative. What's your view of Trent Baalke? I know there's a lot of different views of Trent Baalke, but in this kind of characterization, how do you view him as the GM of the Jags so far?
We're talking about in totality or specifically this offseason?
No, I think overall.
I mean, overall.
Because if you want, then you can juxtapose it to this offseason.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I get what you're saying. I think overall it's been, I mean, if you look at the draft a little bit, I think he has been aggressive with some of the picks, right? Like I think anybody saying that Tank Bigsby, where he was drafted, was definitely an aggressive signing. I think Brenton Strange was aggressive. I think, putting all your chips in the Trayvon Walker basket when you had Aiden Hutchinson there was aggressive. I think this offseason in terms of, you bring in Darnell Savage where safety wasn't necessarily the biggest concern. You bring in Gabe Davis where, did you already have Zay Jones in that position? Possibly. I think Eric Armstead was definitely a big aggressive approach. So overall, I think aggressive, you could say, but also like ballsy, maybe you'd say.
Yeah.
Can we say that? Yeah, I said it. Yeah.
Well, you said that about once a week. So I would say, well, if you're calling him that, then you're saying aggressive. Like it's got to be under the aggressive pile. And I would kind of lend the same thing. See, I don't think he's aggressive by nature, in my opinion. Now, there's some insight even back in San Francisco. I mean, he did pick A.J. Jenkins. That did not work. I mean, when you take, is that a risk? I don't know. Is it a risk to take a receiver at the back end? For whatever reason, that was an evaluation problem more than anything else. But the book on Baalke has been, I'm going to take trench guys, work from the inside out. And to me, those are safe picks. If you're taking offensive linemen, defensive linemen, those are usually safer picks, in my opinion. I think he actually has been very aggressive. Now, some of this tied to Urban, the aggressive nature to go get ETN at 25. They didn't have to do that. They did. They went and tried to get a playmaker. That's an aggressive play. I'm not sure everybody would have done that. And then if you continue to look at the last couple of years, I think your Trayvon Walker example is a very good one. To me, that's not a safe play necessarily. The safe play to appeal to fans and everything else would have been pick Aiden Hutchinson.
Correct.
He went not totally outside the box. I mean, somebody was going to take him, Trayvon Walker, pretty high.
Yeah.
But he took the probably more risky, higher ceiling guy, at least that he thought, and he made that play. And they were convicted on that play within the organization, according to everybody else. So I think that goes to be aggressive. I think trading up in that draft to go back and get Devin Lloyd is an aggressive play. It's a play that I've wanted to see this organization make many times over the years. I mean, come on. Why do we keep going backwards and compiling picks when you can go up and get another guy in the first round, have control over that contract for an extra year, too, if you want to do it? Now, again, this is different than saying, was it the right move? Is it going to work out? I think after 2 years, we really don't know about Devin Lloyd, whether that's Mike Caldwell's fault, Devin Lloyd's fault, Trent Baalke's fault. Put the blame wherever you want. But the move to do it was an aggressive move, in my opinion, by Trent Baalke. Then you do take this offseason and this free agency. And I'm not sure I go to pure aggression last year. They were playing a depth draft last year. I think they tried to be more aggressive, and I think some of these other moves showcase and maybe validate that when he said he was trying to trade up in spots and nobody wanted to dance with him. I probably believe him more now because it looks like they've been aggressive and they probably were trying to be last year's draft, couldn't find a dance partner. But this offseason, to me, they've been very aggressive. Like, they were way more aggressive last week than I thought they were going to be. The Armstead move, you're right. That's a risky move in many respects. He's going to be 31 years old. He's coming off a couple of seasons of injuries, and you're going to pay him $17 million a year to get better. They went and got Gabe Davis, and they wanted to still get Calvin Ridley. Like, they were willing to pay some pretty high dollar for Calvin Ridley, where I think a lot of GMs and a lot of organizations would say, listen, we're not going to go that high for him. We're going to go get that in the draft. I think they've probably peaked around on Ayuk and maybe even a Higgins. I think what all this shows me is that they might take receiver at 17, or they might be willing to jump up and go get a guy in that first round, or maybe the more likely scenario, you take pick number 48, Austin, and you don't get receiver in that 17. Now you trade back into the first round or earlier in the second round to go get a guy that you covet. I feel like the Jags are going to be wheeling and dealing a little bit up until the draft and maybe through the first couple of rounds to try to go help Trevor out, to try to go help the offense out even more?
So I think what you had an example of last year, whether it was the draft or free agency, you felt like you had the team to make a Super Bowl run, right? So a lot of those draft picks reflected that. There were a lot more, as I like to call, luxury picks, a la Taven Bryan of 2018. You coming off a great year, didn't really need a lot. Let's bring in this guy from Florida who could be a little more of a developmental guy, but maybe we can get the best out of him, right? So you brought in Tank Bigsby, you brought in Brenton Strange, all these guys that not necessarily impact players from the get-go, but eventually you can see them growing into a role. And you thought that your team was set up, hey, you know what, maybe we're one player away, maybe we're an offensive weapon away, let's bring in Calvin Ridley. Well, you did all that, and what happened? I think you got exposed in some areas, and you realized, you know what, we maybe have a couple more holes than we were trying to lead on. So with that being said, I think they try to change the script a little bit this year and said, okay, we have to address some things, right? Center. Let's go with Mitch Morse, right? Defensive interior. Let's get Eric Armstead. And the secondary, obviously you can't keep everybody. You lose a guy like Darius Williams. That guy has to be replaced. So I think this year was more of a course correction in saying, you know what? Maybe we overvalued some of the players that we have in terms of how they can contribute us going to a Super Bowl. So we have to make the adjustments accordingly. And I think it comes with leadership. And I think it comes with experience. And those are the two things that we've seen this offseason that have been addressed.
Yeah, I think it's a bit. You just hit on a couple of things. I think I have to give Balky a little bit of respect for the aggressive. That's a word I keep using. I think it's a little bit more aggressive than conservative. But I think you just kind of hit on something that we talked about going into free agency. That would they be willing to admit mistake? Mm-hmm. And I think what they have done on 3 different levels, to me, is admit a little bit of mistake. They built a locker room. That was a good locker room. I genuinely believe it's a good locker room. I don't think they had necessarily locker room issues last year like some teams have. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they had enough guys that have been through it and been to the top, and we've discussed that a lot. And I think they tried to rectify that in free agency. I think they were way more aggressive in free agency. They didn't just stand pat on Luke Fortner and their investment there. They said, we can get better. We're going to go try to get better here. So that's admitting some mistake. And then to your point, maybe we weren't as close as we thought we were, so we have to be, more aggressive doing X, Y, Z. We're definitely not running it back, all those kind of things. So it's a nice little combination right now of, hey, we didn't do it. We learned a little bit. We're going to admit that. We're going to put a different plan together, but it's going to be an aggressive plan.
Yeah.
And I think in parts, Austin, isn't this an aggressive plan because these guys are against it? This is it for Trent Baalke. It's easy here at BestBet St. Augustine to be all in right now. Mm-hmm. He's in his early 60s. He even threw or flirted out with retirement at the end of this past season. If they don't get it done, he's getting fired. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of easy to be all in and say, let's go with the nature of Trevor's contract, with the nature of their situation, and with a roster that, let's be honest, is pretty good, while the rest of the league also is pretty good.
Yeah, essentially you have house money right now, right? Because you're playing, you're trying to keep your job, right? So if I'm on my way out and I have an opportunity to try to make things right, you better believe I'm going to spend all the resources that I can in terms of making sure I have all the pieces that I need to try to keep my job. One thing about that philosophy, though, which we could very well see, is then where does Josh Allen fit into this whole thing, right? Because they're concerned. If I'm Trent Baalke, I'm concerned about this year, right? I have to keep my job. I have to earn my keep, if you will. You're the GM. It's your job to negotiate contracts. But where is Josh Allen right now in terms of, all right, this guy's probably making 30-something a year. We have to get him paid. Where is that urgency right now? Where is that focus? Or are you more focused on the draft? Are you more focused on the present as opposed to the future? Who knows? Maybe Josh Allen will be a team player and play on the franchise tag. I have a hard time believing that, but you never know. I wonder, through all this that's going on right now in terms of the aggressiveness, where does that aggressive nature come in paying your best player on your roster right now?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if you have to be overly aggressive there. I think that's just good business. I think that's in like a different category for me. They have to get it done. Like that's part of what you do for, you could be all in right now, but you still have to look out from his position. you have to look out for the overall good of the organization, because here's the deal. If you're aggressive right now, you're all in right now, you feel good about what you have, and you do well, then you're staying on board. Like, you got to worry about yourself 2 years, 3 years down the road for consistent winning and where you really want the organization to go. So you always have to balance that, and I think this goes under business. Well, listen, the organization is better if they have Josh Allen for the next 5 years anyway, but it also goes under the good business side of, hey, we have to do things right. And I do think people have misfired a little bit on some of that. I think people have said they're never going to get anybody here because of Baalke. They're never going to get a free agent here. They're never going to be able to trade. They're never going to be able to, that's what people have said. Because of Baalke, because of Baalke, because of Baalke. Well, guess what? You know what? I mean, Doug Peterson's still here, and he's a Super Bowl winning coach. And you can, whatever, it was an arranged marriage, but he came here. The Jags have been able to get free agents here. They spent $170 million, and I know money's the bigger part of the deal.
Sure.
But they also got to spend, they got free agents here this year, guys that picked Jacksonville over Chicago or Mitch Morse over Pittsburgh, at least according to reports.
Sure.
So, that part's not an issue. I think the business side has been better than a lot of people figure it to be. Even get Armstead here, of course, from San Francisco, a West Coast guy to move all the way over here to Florida.
Well, keep in mind, Trent Baalke drafted
I get it, but that's a relationship thing. That's my point.
Absolutely. But also, I feel like, and this was a couple of years ago, but I do know, and I know this for a fact because I spoke with these agents, some undrafted free agents who were highly touted, who had made a lot of sense in Jacksonville, were told not to go to Jacksonville because the agent didn't want to deal with Trent Baalke. So, and once again, take that for how you want. I think it's a little bit of both. I think some players chose to come to Jacksonville, and I still think there's some rumblings in saying, you know what, maybe some agents or some players don't want to do business in Jacksonville. And I think the more success that you have, the more you can turn that image around, the better. And I think this offseason was a good start. Is it perfect? Absolutely not, but it was a good start.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting part to it, just that whole dynamic, because you can make the case. Let's just say if you want to argue against Baalke in this situation, you can make the case, well, it's Doug and Trevor, right? They're a little bit of the Pied Pipers here. Mm-hmm. People really want to come play for them, with them. I can see that. That's definitely a thing. I think that David Mulligetta is an interesting one here in Jacksonville because he was with Jalen Ramsey, or is with Jalen Ramsey, and the Ramsey thing that went with the organization, and that was even pre-Baalke, by the way. But that's one of those deals like, okay, how's that going to affect future business with the Jacksonville Jaguars? Well, crazy enough, now this was a trade between Atlanta. How much control does the actual agent have, I think is questionable. But from what we understand, when we talked to Calvin Ridley, he had multiple teams, and he chose Jacksonville on this trade front to come to Jacksonville, and that was obviously orchestrated in part by David Mulligetta, the agent. Mm-hmm. Now, Mulligetta and Calvin Ridley get him a good deal in Tennessee, but I think people view that as like, oh, that's the Jalen guy, right? They're not going to do business with the Jags. It's a negative thing. I don't think so. He's the same guy that approved the trade, and they got the trade over to Jacksonville last year to set the table for all this. So I think those things are funny. I don't know exactly how that works. I can see some people that don't want to do business. I think that's how the trade market works. Like if you look at trades over the years in Jacksonville, like maybe it was Dave Caldwell, did a lot of trades with the Baltimore Ravens, right? Or maybe it was trades with the Philadelphia Eagles. But you kind of have your dance partners, and you have your allies, I think, around the league. I think the big problem with Baalke, at least across the board, or at least from the noise part of it, is how many allies does he have, right?
Yep.
But at the end of the day, you're trying to do business and make what's best for your football team. Undrafted free agent, that dude has a lot of different choices, right? He doesn't have to go.
Correct.
If you're making a trade for somebody like an Ayuk in this situation, it's a very fair deal. You might only have two teams willing to go there.
Yeah.
So I think, in the grand scheme of things, no matter how you look at it, they've been able to operate. They've been able to do good things. They've been able, at least what looks good on paper. Mm-hmm. They've really had so far a pretty effective and aggressive, what I would call it, offseason here in Jacksonville. And just to bring this full circle, I didn't view Baalke as an aggressive guy. Mm-hmm. Like I would have viewed like a Caldwell as more of a risk taker.
Okay.
Than I would have Trent Baalke, and that's just my feeling, my perception.
Yeah.
But it's turned out, I think, in the last few years that Baalke's been pretty aggressive.
And now you have to be because of your job's on the line, so you have to be aggressive.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, we kind of just joked about it here from BestBet St. Augustine, but they're kind of all in here.
Yeah.
I mean, the jobs are on the line this year.
Yep.
I don't know what that looks like, what that means. Like, is it 9 wins? Is it playoffs? Is it win a playoff game?
It's got to be
whatever it is.
It's got to be at least the playoffs, if not more. It has to be.
Yeah, and there's more to that on the line, though, because I think there's such a huge offseason to show which direction the Jags are going to go. If the Jags falter here and don't make the playoffs, it's maybe not a true spiral to get back to 3 wins and 4 wins, but it's certainly not ascending and being where you thought you'd be as a consistent winner and now a player and a contender every single year. The other side of it is the whole Trevor thing. I mean, it looks like right now they're not going to pay him this year.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So he's going to go into a monster year for Trevor Lawrence. And you almost wonder, back to the receiver talk, is that kind of the handshake deal? Hey, it works out best if we pay you next year. Right? Yeah. You can go out and have a big year. We're going to have to pay you more next year.
Correct.
We're going to go get you more so you even can play and have your best year yet, because we can't wait to write you the check.
Yeah, I mean, that's business at the end of the day, right? Like, you could have paid Trevor this year, then are you getting Mitch Morris? Are you getting these other guys? Are you going to sign Josh Allen? You don't know. So, yeah, I think there's understanding from Trevor Lawrence. Not to say, like, listen, if I'm Trevor Lawrence, I'm still at, like, next year, negotiations aren't going to be easy.
No.
Right? I'm still going to want what I want and demand what I want. But I think he understands the game right now where it's like, hey, we still want you here, obviously, but some other things need to be taken care of first.
All right, let's take a break from BestBet St. Augustine. We're getting closer and closer to these games tipping off for the NCAA tournament, and we'll talk a little BestBet St. Augustine, what you can do here when we come back, and that is on the way. Still to come, I want to stay on Trevor during the noon hour, too. Just got a little conversation about him, his mindset going into this year 4. So a lot more football talk, some NCAA tournament talk. We got to do a 5-minute bracket, get you in on the bracket, too. But really, I don't care if there's 5 people, 500 people, or 1. We just need 1 bracket to compete against us. Haven't even looked yet. Maybe they're already up there where Hamby's tweeted out the link. And you can get in and, well, play against us for the next few weeks with the NCAA tournament. We'll be back here on the Brent Austin Show. Alive Credit Union cares about our community. After all, it was founded by people in our community 70 years ago by a group of Florida Blue employees. And the mission still is to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. In here, they are more than just a bank. You can find Alive in the community providing financial education to our youth, sharing programs that are geared toward building credit and rebuilding credit, and supporting causes with amazing organizations like the American Lung Association. This March, Alive Credit Union will be back for the 6th time as a longtime sponsor of the American Lung Association's Fight for Air Climb. The event is March 23rd downtown. Get your team of climbers, family, friends, co-workers. The event will be emceed by Action News Jax's Garrett Biedenbaugh. Be a part of our community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Navigating to that perfect car can be a daunting task. Trust me, I understand, but if you want to find the perfect blend of sales and service for your automotive needs, look no further than the Tom Bush family of dealerships.
Here at Tom Bush, they do things right. Dating back to 1970, they've been a staple in the community, giving back and keeping everything local. With 4 different brands to choose from, BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, and many, there's a car for every member of the family, and the customer service is second to none. Looking to add an electric vehicle to your fleet? Tom Bush remains at the forefront of new technology with plenty of staff on hand to walk you through the future of driving and help eligible customers file for that EV tax credit.
Whether you're looking for your future driver's first car or you want to step up to luxury and arrive in style, the Tom Bush family of dealership is the only stop that you need to make.
Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory at tombush.com.
Go where all the pros go. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute takes care of athletes at the highest level, like the Jacksonville Jaguars players. They will take care of you, too. Our team covers a lot of teams here in Jacksonville: FSCJ, JU, the Axemen, the Jumbo Shrimp, the Sharks, and, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars. JOI covers all those teams as well. And then there's youth sports. My kids play baseball and softball. And whenever we have an injury question, the first call is to JOI. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute has been serving Jacksonville for 30 years. And they have over 30 specially trained physicians and assistants at 5 locations in the area.
If your injury is specific to an area of the body, JOI has a specialist. They also are leaders in robotic surgery, joint replacement, and sports medicine. JOI Rehab has 13 locations and 90 therapists to get you better. Comprehensive care with caring physicians and staff at JOI. From youth sports to high school, college, and the pros, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. JOI. Go where all the pros go.
Get outside.
Yeah. All right.
Make friends. Learn life lessons with the First Tee.
Golf is kind of like life in a way.
You can take some stuff you learn on the course and take that and use it in every single day life.
Donate to First Tee's Play Day campaign and everybody wins.
For every $10 you've donated, you're entered to win a free round with a buddy.
At the stadium course, home of the players, with this guy, Len Matisse. Scan the code on your screen or visit actionnewsjax.com to learn more.
I'm Action News Jack's first alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. While the sun is up and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jax This Morning team, helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show. And there's again, we're talking a lot about the football and Jaguars and what's going on. And we'll talk a little more Trevor Lawrence coming up at the top of the hour, because year 4 is a big year for Trevor. But you kind of wonder what he's thinking. Could try to hit the lottery this year, going into year 4, or wait and hit a bigger lottery next year. That's an interesting psychology, I think, for a player and his team. And we'll talk, and I don't mean the Jags, I mean his representatives. We'll talk more Trevor Lawrence coming up in a bit. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Jason Hamby, the Brent and Austin Show. We are live, BestBet St. Augustine. We're here today, tomorrow, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m., and that is not Austen Lane. No. There you go. Yeah, you can take him down, man. Want a little arm wrestling with Austin? Right. I've done it before. Just kick him in the shin or something. You got to distract him.
Tough, can he?
Yeah,
he looks pretty tough.
Well, you can do a lot of different things with Austin. Like you can probably
trip him maybe as you're running away.
Well, you can antagonize a bit because he has registered. These are registered weapons. So he has to be careful.
He has to be careful.
Yeah.
That's right.
So he has to use different tactics if he really wants to get after you. We don't want to tell too many people that, but I'm just saying on the show I need to know that.
That's right.
Depending on how much we want to debate back and forth. This is Jesse Hollander with us from Best Bet, Executive Director of Card Room Operations, which sounds like a fantastic title, by the way.
Yeah, it's a long one, right? It's a long one. It's fun though. It's a great thing for me. It's a great opportunity. It's been a lot of fun working with Best Bet, all 3 locations. So I really like it.
Yeah, you've been around this for a while. We've known you for a long time with Best Bet, and you've watched all the different things grow, including this new location built from the ground up, which is just a tremendous location. We're just talking about it. I mean, I don't know if people think about, and we're trying to get you thinking about, the NCAA tournament is on today, and I'm about to tip off here at noon. Thursday, Friday, the great days of the NCAA tournament. That's part of the reason we're out here. But this is just an awesome venue to sit here and watch games, but also, the pari-mutuel wagering. If there's a boring game, you go, Play a card game, play a little poker, and you guys are doing some fun stuff where you can win $100 just by being in a lucky seat every half hour starting at noon.
That's right. For in honor of the tournament starting and you being here, the Action Sports team, from noon to midnight today and tomorrow, all seated players, as long as you're seated at one of the table games or one of the poker games, we do a lucky seat giveaway. We draw $100 every 30 minutes.
There you go.
Totally
Simple
random,
as that.
Just to give it away, and it's fun.
You get that tap on the shoulder, you might get $100.
That's right.
That's
just that easy.
That's a pretty good deal. So that's today, tomorrow, noon to midnight, and just take a seat, and you might be a lucky winner, and you can take a seat and be a lucky winner anyway at the table games and the poker room. Give us a separation of the kind of the two sides, if you will, or
sure.
I don't want to. That probably isn't a great way to phrase it, but there's the poker room, which again, novice to expert, all different levels. You can tell us about some of the tournaments coming up, but then, man, I love this side of the room.
Yeah, this is we call it the fun side, right? They're both fun, but poker is a little different, right? It's traditional poker. You sit down, you play with other people, and it's poker. If you're not comfortable playing poker, you can ask us. We'll give you some tips, some tricks, and make you feel comfortable at the table in no time. Additionally, we have the table games right behind us, and those games are much easier to learn fast. The barrier of entry is really low, minimum bet of $5. If you don't know how to play, you can ask the dealer, you can ask one of us, and you'll be playing and having a great time in no time. It's very simple.
I think it's one of the fun things about coming here in the table games. Maybe even, if you tried that other, like a bigger casino or whatever, where that's kind of overwhelming. Not the case here. It's very, like, even the dealers will really help you out, and teach you and educate you. Conversation's great. You can learn a lot of games here, learn how to play and learn what's fun for you. I start with one-card poker because you don't have to learn that one. That's war, man.
That's an easy one. I get a card, you get a card, whoever's the highest card wins, right?
But you do learn the other ones, what the bonuses mean, what other things mean. So it's really not an overwhelming experience at all. It's a very casual one and a fun one.
Sure. It's very, very easy, and you're right. You can work your way up. You can start at one card, move your way to 3-card poker, which is very simple, on up to DJ Wild or I Love Suits, or a very popular, our most popular game is Ultimate Texas Hold'em. Little more to learn, very easy to play. And Pai Gow poker, also very simple. You just need a little bit of instruction.
Yeah, it's a little graduation process. That's right? Which is also kind of cool as you get more
comfortable. Find which one you like the most on your way up.
What makes this location unique? You talk about all the different TVs. Obviously, you got the bar here. There's a fresh look, new. I mean, is there something that is unique to this location, in your opinion, having been around this a while?
Well, all 3 locations all have the same offerings of poker and table games and pari-mutuel wagering. This location in particular, it's our new shiny penny. It's a beautiful location. There's music playing. Each little quadrant has its own atmosphere. The poker room has one atmosphere. The table games section has its own atmosphere. We have the bar, the Aces Sports Bar, which is a great place to watch the game with all the TVs. And then we have this pari-mutuel side with all the TVs, which obviously we're going to be showing all the basketball games on. So it's just a different atmosphere, and it's really cool. Even though it's not a very big building, there's a different atmosphere in each different corner. So it's a lot of fun.
And you think about some of the big events coming up. We were talking earlier before the show today and kind of mapping out our schedule, because we're going to be here a couple of different times each and every month, like April 12th and 19th. We've already got on the calendar. We're going to be here. We're trying to plan around May, right around Derby Day, maybe the Friday prior to, because Friday's a big day for the Kentucky Derby atmosphere and racing and everything else with the Kentucky Oaks. But then obviously you guys that's kind of a fun day, a great day. You're looking for a Derby place to be. This was a pretty good place, right?
Yeah, this is the place to watch the Derby. There's no question about that. We'll have some contests, the fancy hat contest.
Yeah.
Everybody can drink their mint juleps and get your bets down. The Kentucky Derby is one of those races where if you only bet one race a year, it's the Kentucky Derby.
Absolutely.
And it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The atmosphere, it's, the fastest 2 minutes in all sports.
It is. It's great. I used to cover horse racing up in Albany, New York, and the Kentucky Derby still kind of registers. I miss that. That sport's really fun and a good one to be involved in, and a fun one to handicap, too, the ins and outs of horse racing. I think that's why people like the pari-mutuel stuff.
Sure.
I mean, you really got to do your homework. It's a deep dive.
You do have to do your homework.
Or you can. I mean, you don't have to, but you can.
Sure, you don't have to. You can pick, the horse, the gray horse out of the 5 spot, the one that everybody likes, right?
Much like the NCAA tournament. You can pick hey, I like the Wildcats. Let's go with them.
That's right.
Wait, they wore blue uniform. Okay, we'll go with them. That's right. How people win that stuff sometimes. Jesse Hollander with us from Best Bet, Executive Director of Card Room Operations. For the maybe expert or at least more advanced poker player, you guys have some big events coming up, don't you?
Yeah, we have a tournament next weekend. We call it our Stack Tournament, St. Augustine Championship. It's next Saturday. It's a $300 buy-in, $30,000 guaranteed in the prize pool. It's a one-day tournament. It's really a good tournament. So you come in, it starts at noon. It'll finish that evening. It'll take about 10 hours or so for the lucky few, right? And there's it's $300, but if you can get in a little bit cheaper on Friday and Wednesday at 12:30, there's an $80. It's called a satellite tournament. It's the same thing. It's just a no-limit hold'em tournament where you win your way into the $300 tournament. And even before that, early in the day on Wednesday and Friday, we run high hands, where you win a seat into the satellite so you can get in for free.
Very good. That's the cool part about all that. There's the levels of it, right? I mean, you can get in, you can pay the whatever to get in, but then you can get in various ways on a lot of these events.
Sure, you can pay the $300. You can just show up Saturday, pay $300 and get in, which is what a lot of people do. But a lot of people, if you have time on your hands, come in early Wednesday or early Friday and try to win your way in for free.
Get a couple warm-up rounds in,
That's
too.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. Jesse Hollander with us, Best Bet St. Augustine. And you guys got a full slate. I see the calendar. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be here a couple times a month. We'll be here again tomorrow. And I think the biggest thing to make sure you know, 2 things. Great place to watch the NCAA tournament. Kicks off and tips off in just a few minutes. Obviously, we'll go deep into the night, too. Sushi bar opens right around 5 o'clock. That's an important note. Best sushi around here at Best Bet.
Yeah, excellent.
I tell people that all the time. I don't know if they truly believe me, but I tell people
they do once they come.
They do.
Have it, right?
They do. I get them. Come on, you got to get the sushi here at Best Bet. And also today and tomorrow, starting in 20 minutes, lucky seat winner. $100 every 30 minutes. If you're at a seat, you might be in a lucky seat. You get a tap on the shoulder, $100. Easy as that. You don't have to do anything. Just sit down and play every half hour. So that's today and tomorrow. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is awesome. And this our pari-mutuel section here with all these TVs, as I said, we are going to show the basketball games. So, get your bets down. That's now legal in Florida. Get all your bets down and then come watch all the games here.
See how it unravels.
This is the place to watch.
It's going to be fun. We can't wait for that to start here in just a little bit, and I think people will be doing that all day long as they get out of work and cut work off a little bit early to watch some of the hoop games. Best Bet St. Augustine, a great place to do it. Jesse Hollander, thanks for stopping by, man. Thanks for having us, too.
Hey, no problem. It's great having you guys here. Look forward to having you here tomorrow and throughout the months.
Absolutely. We will take a break. We'll come back and, how do we see this tournament shaking out? We'll give a little insight. The games are about to tip off. We better tell you what we think, or it would be cheating after they tip off. That's coming up next. Brent and Austen Show live from Best Bet St. Augustine. The Bulls, Bulldogs, and Bartram Trail Bears in action last night on a beautiful night for baseball. Bartram Trail got off to a good start. Caleb Allender with an RBI single, but Bulls would tack on the most runs. They win 5-2. Bulls number 3 in our High Five Power Poll with no gate fees for the private schools, and they go to 10-3 on the season.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580. It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
I've been forecasting the weather for a long time, and no matter where I go, I always get asked the same question.
Hey, Mike, what's the weather going to be like?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, hey, what's the weather going to be like?
I don't mind being asked because I always have the answer. Great day for a perfect round of golf. Hey, a little rain later today. So go ahead, ask me.
Hey, Mike, I'm heading out. What's the weather like tonight?
It's the same question, even at home.
Mike Burrish, he's got your weather answer on Action News Jax.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too. When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Things are heating up, and the UNF baseball and softball teams are warmed up more than a third of the way through their seasons, and both Ospreys teams on the diamond are off to good starts. Recent Pitcher of the Week honors in both sports. Both teams have done well with the home cooking early in their schedule, and the early tests on the road have gone well, too. The A-Sun season is here now. UNF baseball and softball trying to make some noise in conference play. Go watch the Ospreys play. Go to UNFOspreys.com for more information on schedules and tickets. Plus, keep up with all the sports results and stories. UNFOspreys.com.
When strong storms threaten and your safety is on the line, nothing beats accuracy. Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish and the First Alert Weather Team. Your safest place to be during a storm is Action News Jax.
I'm Action Sports Jax Stuart Weber. Please join me and the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation in Northeast Florida for our annual Take Steps Walk, right here at Memorial Park on April 13th. The event is dedicated to finding cures and raising awareness for digestive diseases. Join us by registering now at actionnewsjax.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Oh, is that Hamby's bracket right there? We were having a little bit of, there's a weird noise coming out of Hamby's mic, so we didn't want him to talk today. Isn't that great? Like, yeah. Hamby, we text him and be like, Hamby, please don't talk today.
Yep. Was it his mic or was it his opinions?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just kidding there, Hamby.
We might still have him talk for a second or
Houston,
two.
huh?
Very limited.
Okay.
Interesting, you've got Houston and Bama. Bama in the championship game. All right, turn your mic on, explain yourself. I don't care if it's got a little hiss to it or whatever. For a second, we can. You got to explain yourself here. I like how you have Gonzaga. I might have had Gonzaga go pretty far, too. Don't you feel like they're back to Cinderella fashion a little bit?
I do have Gonzaga going a pretty long ways myself.
All right, Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Brent and Austin Show. We are live, BestBet St. Augustine, hanging out here. And before I forget, I want to pass along one other information for the folks up at BestBet Jacksonville or play up that way. You have the Run Good tournament coming up. It actually starts in 15 minutes. How about that? So you can get in for $1,200. Now, this is a big one. You can play today, tomorrow, or Saturday. And then the Run Good main event, final day, is on Sunday. $300,000 purse for that one. $1,200 buy-in to get in, and you play your way in either today, tomorrow, or Saturday up there at Best Bet Jacks off Monument Road. Brent Martineau along with Jason Hamby and Austen Lane. Are we still looking at your bracket, or is my screen frozen?
We can't talk to him, so.
Yeah, here we go. That bracket was, did everybody cheat off that bracket? It was up there for 4 minutes.
Honestly, I probably should have looked a little harder. I didn't see where we had. Bama, I'm not mad at the Bama pick.
I'll tell you what.
Houston, we'll see.
I told Hammy not to talk, and he took that to heart. I even gave him an option to talk right there. He didn't want to jump in.
Yeah.
My guess is he tried to, and he hit the wrong button.
But he also got a lot of stuff on his plate right now. And there we go. Hey, Hammy, did you get my bracket, by the way, too, as well? Because it says it's in the group, so I just want to make sure. Okay, good.
Do you have my bracket?
People in the challenge right now.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Nice job, everybody, to get in there. We just opened it up 2 hours ago, and you're almost in. So
Brent's got Houston winning too. Okay,
I have Houston winning. Who do you have winning?
I have UConn.
You have UConn, of course. Do you see my pick in there too, Hamby?
Yeah.
Or do you need me to fill out another one?
No, I can't see who you guys pick, but I can see that you filled out a
So until the tournament actually starts, we can't see who each other picks.
Yeah, but you just told everybody who I picked.
Well, because it's on the screen, man. So there you go. Hey, what do you want me to tell you?
Hamby, explain yourself real quick. Alabama in the championship game. I think they're actually a candidate to be upset in the first round.
Yeah, I kind of just wanted to be SEC homer, and I had to find a team to go with, and Bama's got good guard play, so I kind of just went with them, and you got to throw a 4 seed in there sometimes.
Yeah, that's, picking the upsets is, we talked about this earlier, it's tough. Mm-hmm. It's tough to figure out which ones, but I was showing you guys an article earlier today. Do you know that the new 12 seed is actually an 11 seed? You remember the 5-12 game?
Yeah.
I guess that's not a thing anymore. Did you know that?
I had no idea. No.
Because in our minds, we always have 5-12, 5-12. Yeah. Look out for the 5 seed. That's a dangerous seed.
There's always going to be an upset with the 12.
Well, look at this. Let's see if I find this graphic real quick. I thought this was pretty interesting. So most Sweet 16 appearances. Now, we're getting a little deeper into it. Doesn't mean you can't get the upset in the first round. But the most Sweet 16 appearances. Check this out. Number 1 seed, of course, wins the day. This is since 2011.
Okay.
So this is the last, 12 years, be a dozen years. And the number 2 seed 28 times, number 4 seed 28 times, number 3 27. Mm-hmm. So makes sense, right? A lot of chalk in there to the Sweet 16. They win the early round games. Not a surprise. The next one, after you get by 1, 2, 3, 4 seed, the next highest is the number 11 seed. The number 11 seed in the last, since 2011, has made the Sweet 16 14 times. As many times as the 5 seed, ironically. And 3 more times than the 7 seed. That is pretty wild.
Well, thank God I'm an 11th seed in my Sweet 16.
I was going to say.
Now I feel better about it.
Do you feel better? I saw this after I did my bracket.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's a wild tournament that we end up getting eventually to chalk anyway, don't we? Usually, at the end of the day. We've had, Kentucky won as a 7 seed that year, or 8 seed, something like that. Mm-hmm. I think UConn might have done something similar years ago, or at least made. So we get the runs. You get the George Masons. You get Florida Atlantic last year. So that's cool. But I feel like most of the time at the end of the day, we're still seeing in that Elite 8 to the Final 4 that the good teams end up there for a reason. They're good. They're better than everybody.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah. And It's funny how we say that, though, in terms of chalk, because when we've talked about this, really the infancy of our show, where this year has been very weird with college basketball in terms of, there are a couple teams that maybe stand out, but it's been so up and down in terms of parity, where you feel like anybody, whether it's a 1 seed, a 2 seed, a 3 seed, or even a 4 seed, could theoretically take this title home.
What has you most excited about this tournament going in? Edey's a good player.
Yep.
But he's not like, we don't have Zion Williamson, right, in this tournament. Like, we don't have the player that's going to register. I can't wait to watch him play. Listen, the women's tournament has it. They've got Caitlin Clark.
Sure.
All eyes on Caitlin Clark in the women's tournament because of her. They can't wait to watch her next game. There's some other things going on in women's college basketball, too, that also has you intrigued. Like, I really think those headlines, the storylines for women's basketball, are better than the storylines going into this tournament for the men. Now, this one will be much more widely watched. Let's not make a mistake about it. And there's plenty of entertainment value and more parity, which makes it entertaining and Cinderella and everything else. But the headlines are way more appetizing on the women's side.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more must-see players on the women's side. And even like in terms of drama, we talked about the LSU South Carolina game, the SEC championship for the women's basketball side, where if they see each other again, that would be something to watch. You don't really, I don't know. I guess the must-watch thing is going to be Iowa State's press defense. Like, I don't know what you would say. But no, obviously, I think in terms of, to me, the story is the parity, right? Where, like I said before, I think a lot of teams you can make arguments, including Alabama, and say they can win a national championship.
Yeah, and again, I don't know if that matters. Maybe that's better. It's wide open. Like, it feels wide open. It feels like everybody's going UConn because I think that becomes groupthink. And listen, they're good. Well, they're definitely good.
They're the best team in college basketball, and they're coming off a year where they won it last year, so they have experience.
Do they feel unbeatable, though?
They do everything so well. Like, it'd be one thing if they have any kind of flaw, right? They have the size, they have the experience, they play defense. Obviously, they can score. I think there was like 3 teams in this tournament that are like considered top 12 in offense and defense. Spoiler alert, UConn's one of those teams.
UConn's one of them. So we'll see. Hey, do you like the tournament the way it is? Or do you think they should add teams? There's a lot of conversation about adding teams. Like some people have said all the way up to 128 teams.
No, relax with that, please. No, we're all good.
Okay, so you're in the all good category.
Yeah, I think we're all good.
There, like John Calipari came out, some others came out and said, yeah, we're all good. Like, why mess it up? I thought somebody had a great quote. I can't remember who it was. But they said, why would you mess this up? It's already good. Like, it's one of the biggest 3 events, like, in the calendar year in sports.
To me, it's the best thing in sports.
And
like, today and tomorrow are fun.
Yeah, very fun. Like, it's so unique. So why do you have to add to it? Well, why would we be adding to it? Well, more parity, everybody gets a trophy kind of society that we live in and the world we live in. And, this.
Yeah, cha-ching.
Really, this. Money. Yeah. This is why we would do that and add to it. Now, I will say this. Would you be in favor of advancing more teams and taking away conference tournaments?
No, because I think the conference tournaments still mean something.
They do?
Yeah.
Because that's where you find your Cinderella, right? You get NC State, they win 5 in a row, and it's kind of cool. But you would be allowing NC State most likely into the tournament if you expanded the field even more.
Possibly. I'm not sure what the record would indicate where they even could get in.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking with 128 teams, you'd almost have every Power 5 team in.
No, I just think that's the greatness that I think is the conference championships, because it offers you a little appetizer before the big dance, the NCAA tournament, because it's a guaranteed ticket in, whether you're the last ranked team in your conference or you're the first team. Like, if you win that thing, it's a guaranteed ticket. So to me, it's fun to watch.
Yeah, I think. Listen, I kind of like what they said about it. They're like, no, we don't need any. This is good.
Yeah.
Don't mess it up. Like,
don't.
It's really the old adage, right? If it ain't broke.
Exactly. The college football playoff, I get it. You can go back and forth with that. This has always been a fun thing. I get you want to add 68 teams. Okay, that's fine. Give a couple more teams a chance to make the tournament. but don't mess up a great thing.
No, actually, Austin, like the college football playoff, it's not that you were trying to mess it up. You were trying to make it as good as like this tournament. That's why you went to a playoff, because everything is done with a playoff. Not people are done with a computer and saying you're number one or this, and then just two teams get in. And so we get to the playoff because it makes sense. That's how we do sports. That's how we determine a winner. That's why we have playoffs. That's why we have brackets. That's why we love March Madness. That's why we've expanded the field in college football to say maybe there will be a Cinderella that comes through there some point down the road in the next 10, 15 years. Now a 14-team tournament in college football. You're going to get an 11 seed that wins a national title. I hope, because that's the beauty of this thing. When you have Gonzaga turn from Cinderella to power, when you have George Mason, we remember it. When you have Florida Atlantic, you remember it. Florida Atlantic is such a cool story in a way because not only do they did so well, they actually still kept their whole roster together because they wanted to do it again.
For sure.
Instead of I bet some of those guys got offered a ton of money to go to Duke or wherever else and go play and jump ship. They actually all stayed together, and works out they're really not as good this year as they were on that run.
Wild.
But they're still pretty good. They've earned themselves an 8th seed out of Florida Atlantic, which is not a normal thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think most people around the country, if your sport isn't where you need it to be, should be trying to duplicate anything March Madness related. The question is, can you duplicate it? But I agree with you. I think why would you mess it up if it's already in a good spot? Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll go through our Final Four and get you set up. We're going to pick one in the next half hour or so that will compete against us, and some prizes on the line there. You can get in on social media. We've already got, I think, 25 or so entries, which is even more than we thought since we just announced it 2 hours ago. Producer Hamby coming up with a great idea 10 minutes before the show instead of 10 days before the show. But don't worry, we'll get better. And when we come back, I asked this question to you, Trevor Lawrence. What's he thinking going into year 4 here in Jacksonville? What's his mindset, his representatives? Let's go Team Trevor when we come back here on the Brent and Austen Show. We are live at BestBet St. Augustine, and play the big chips. You like the green ones, don't you? $25?
What are the $100 ones at, man?
Oh, you're going $100?
Yeah, man. I mean, come on. High stakes,
What are
Brent.
those black ones?
High
Don't
stakes.
mess with the black ones here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those aren't even marked.
Go nickels if you need to. 3-card poker out there, 1-card poker out there. Pie Gow.
Yeah, war.
Play the war. 1-card poker.
Play some war.
They call it 1-card poker, but it's really war.
I like playing war. Yeah.
Here at BestBet St. Augustine. We're here today and tomorrow until 1 o'clock as well. Come join us and watch some NCAA tournament games. Tips off in just a couple of minutes.
Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580. It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
I've been forecasting the weather for a long time, and no matter where I go, I always get asked the same question.
Hey, Mike, what's the weather going to be like?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, hey, what's the weather going to be like?
I don't mind being asked because I always have the answer. Great day for a perfect round of golf. Hey, a little rain later today. So go ahead, ask me.
Hey, Mike, I'm heading out. What's the weather like tonight?
It's the same question, even at home.
Mike Burrish, he's got your weather answer on Action News Jax.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too. When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Things are heating up, and the UNF baseball and softball teams are warmed up more than a third of the way through their seasons, and both Ospreys teams on the diamond are off to good starts. Recent Pitcher of the Week honors in both sports. Both teams have done well with the home cooking early in their schedule, and the early tests on the road have gone well, too. The A-Sun season is here now. UNF baseball and softball trying to make some noise in conference play. Go watch the Ospreys play. Go to unfospreys.com for more information on schedules and tickets. Plus, keep up with all the sports results and stories. unfospreys.com.
When strong storms threaten and your safety is on the line, nothing beats accuracy. Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish and the First Alert Weather Team. Your safest place to be during a storm is Action News Jax.
I'm Action Sports Jax Stuart Weber. Please join me and the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation in Northeast Florida for our annual Take Steps Walk, right here at Memorial Park on April 13th. The event is dedicated to finding cures and raising awareness for digestive diseases. Join us by registering now at actionnewsjax.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Welcome back to BestBet St. Augustine. The studios are empty. Just Hamby back there, all by himself. We had a big party in there yesterday. We won't see that place again until Monday. Actually, Monday. You will. I think on Monday I'm going to be at the owners' meetings.
Okay.
Tomorrow we're going to be here again at St. Augustine. BestBet St. Augustine.
Hamby, don't be throwing a party in there with the kids' corner now or anything.
Is the dog? I wonder if the dog's still in the other room.
There was a dog in the room. Yeah.
So,
it was a big dog, too.
That's a big dog. Mm-hmm. We got a little bit of everything going on all around here. Love taking the show on the road. It's great to be on the road, and appreciate everybody figuring it out. And thanks to BestBet St. Augustine for having us. A fantastic place to tip off the NCAA tournament. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, and let me just get the early schedule of games for you. We do have the first 4 games already in the books. 12:15 on CBS 47, by the way, Michigan State, Mississippi State, and then you get Duquesne and BYU tip off at 12:40, Akron, Creighton at 1:30, and then Long Beach State and Arizona at 2, and it goes right. I mean, it just keeps rolling. But those are the first 4 games: Michigan State, Mississippi State, Duquesne, BYU, Akron, Creighton, Long Beach State, Arizona. Duquesne BYU game is very interesting. I think Creighton's an interesting team in the whole tournament. Mm-hmm. It's interesting to see Mississippi State actually make it to the NCAA tournament. They don't feel like they feel like they've done well at basketball. They're a baseball school and sometimes a football school over the years. So ring the bell for Mississippi State, potentially if they get a win as an 8 seed over Michigan State. CBS 47. TNT, TBS, they've really spread out the games, of course, and True TV. The one time a year you've heard of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's amazing what this one thing has done for that channel.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's in totality.
And then what we do, we go back and we say, I got to Google. It's like, all right, whatever, if it's whatever one we're on, whatever provider, what channel is True TV?
No, without a doubt. Yeah, I couldn't name one other television show that's on True TV.
I mean, actually, that's a good trivia question.
Name one show on True TV?
Yeah. I don't think.
It's got to be like some kind of like. Is Cops on True TV?
I don't know. I don't know what kind of stuff they show.
Yeah.
But this time of year you'll find it.
You better believe it, man.
Destination.
Yes, sir.
NCAA tournament. Just for the odds makers, Mississippi State is a 1.5 favorite. BYU's a 9.5 point favorite. Creighton 12.5 and Arizona 20.5 early in these early games. So there's some 16 games in all, as you know, but it tips off at 12:15 on CBS 47. Brent Martineau along with Austen Lane, and back to football we go because I asked you about Trevor Lawrence. What's he thinking right now at this point going into year 4? We've just dissected, hey, if you're in his camp, you've got a lot in your back pocket, from the Urban Meyer stuff to the offensive line to are there enough weapons? Am I set up for success? But also there's, hey, I got to be a little bit better here or there, and I need this year 4 probably to be my best year yet to really cash in. But I'm thinking more the mindset of, do I want to cash in now? Do I want to cash in later? How do you think Trevor's camp is feeling, and Trevor himself, about this potential contract in the next, 8 to 12 months?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that Trevor realizes right now that he can play better. Not to say that maybe there was expectations to get a deal done this year, but let's be realistic. I think he wants to wait until he's proven himself. I think Trevor Lawrence is a guy that's based off of principle and is based off of a performance. I think he'd be the first one to tell you, in terms of mistakes, we have seen some on the field, being able to take care of the football. Not everything is his fault. I understand that, but he can still play better. And I think this year it's just going to be, it's kind of a prove it deal, right? You go out there and prove why you're the top pick of the draft. Go out there and prove why everybody called you a generational type quarterback. And if you can do that, then yeah, by all means, man, go collect your money. So is there pressure? Well, absolutely, right? Because it's a prove-it year for Trevor Lawrence, but I also think that we'll see how this draft shakes up. But he has to, in terms of getting a new center, getting Gabe Davis, hopefully getting a wide receiver in the first round. I think there's going to be some excitement around Trevor Lawrence to make good on what happened last year.
Yeah, listen, Trevor Lawrence is doing just fine, okay? I mean, he's got endorsement deals. His rookie contract now is worth a good amount of money. When you're in the NFL, they've obviously slotted everything. And when you're the number 1 overall pick, it's a 4-year, $36.7 million deal. He's doing fine. Mm-hmm. But in 4 years, he made 36.7. When he signs this contract, it's going to be 50 plus in 1 year. And a lot of guaranteed money, the way these guys are getting guaranteed money. And the NFL, that's always been a thing. Baseball and basketball, these guys get all guaranteed money. In football, you don't. And the risk of injury is high and longevity is tough. So these quarterback deals, they're huge for the annual. For 55, 52, 50, 40, whatever it is. That's a lot of money. But really, the big win here is how much can you get guaranteed? I mean, Watson got $230 million guaranteed, and everybody's like, well, what the heck did you just do, Cleveland? But Lamar Jackson and others have gotten a lot of money guaranteed. That's the bigger portion of it for those guys because they know they're getting that money. That's the generational wealth, right? That's the, hey, Patrick Mahomes, it might have been a 10-year, $450 million deal, but the guaranteed money allows you to go stake claim in the Kansas City Royals and a soccer club, and, you become a business person, quite frankly. You're running your own business at that point. So what I wonder, though, is just with $36 million, with the money he's already made, I don't think this is a guy that we've got to know a little bit, say, hey, I'm motivated by the dollar. But the bottom line is everybody understands the dollar. This is a massive amount of money that nobody would turn down. So it has to be in your thinking in some way, shape, or form. I just don't know if he wants to do it now or later. He feels like the kind of guy that would maybe say, hey, if I'm really looking at this from how much can I get, if my team's looking at it from how much I get, it might be better off to wait to get it next year. But if you had a chance to go cash in a lottery ticket in the next few months, would you be eager to do it now, even if you could get a little bit more later?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be eager to do it now, but we've had this conversation. If you pay him now, you probably have to give him top 5 money. And is Trevor Lawrence a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now? Well, no, he's not. And I think he'll be the first one to tell you that. So, yeah, I mean, everybody wants to get paid right now, tomorrow, this season. But once again, it's what the money says. Are you a top 5 quarterback right now? No, you're not. So go out there, prove why you are, earn your money, and then we'll be all good.
Yeah, so I don't know if I think it's a tricky one. I think everybody, it's funny because everybody in Jacksonville, I believe, or most people in Jacksonville think Trevor Lawrence is going to be the guy for another 5-6 years at the very least, and probably 10-12 years. I think it's really hard to get past that in the NFL now because you see teams. I mean, Russell Wilson's now on his 3rd team, right? Tom Brady went to another team. Peyton Manning went to another team. So anything beyond that is almost like, okay, watch it. It's hard to predict in today's sports world. But I do think this next contract, and probably another one down the road, hopefully, if things go well, like he's the guy. Like we all know it. We all feel it. And he obviously feels it and knows it. But I don't think he's motivated by just that dollar. I think he's really probably a little miffed at the fact that he hasn't had more success in 3 years, because I think that's kind of the Trevor that I feel exists. Like, I'm better than what we have done, what I have done, how much we've won. Like, I bet it really bothers him to look at that career record, and I think it's like 20-30.
Yep.
Like, this guy, he hardly ever lost in his life.
Correct.
And he's now lost 30 games in 3 years in the NFL. I think that really bothers him, and I think that's why it's easy for him to process, like, yeah, whatever about the dollars. Like, that's going to come. But I want, like, this isn't about the money. The money's going to take care of itself. I want to be in that top 3, 4, 5, 6 quarterback conversation.
Yeah.
And right now, people aren't putting me there. And it's not about the people. Right now, I'm not even sure I could put myself there.
No, I mean, listen, I think he's his biggest, like, in terms of critics and everything, I think Trevor Lawrence is his biggest critic, right? Like, yeah, sometimes he gets on Twitter and he shows, the haters and everything, that's fine. But I think Trevor Lawrence holds himself to the highest standard. And once again, he's not a top 5 quarterback right now. I think that's the goal. I think that's what he set out to do. This is a guy who all he knows is being a front runner and being a winner. And yeah, you probably have lost a lot more than you care to do in the NFL. And once again, that's why this year I feel like is so big, because I feel like this year, if you have all the pieces in place, you have the offensive line, you have the wide receivers, this is going to really show you what you're made of in terms of how talented of a quarterback you truly are.
Let me ask you this, and I thought about this yesterday because I saw one of those goofy stat lines. A lot of people put up the Mac Jones numbers against Trevor.
Okay.
And they do the Daniel Jones numbers most recently against Trevor.
No, don't put him in the same category.
Well, I just think, again, eye test is one thing, numbers are another thing. I think we do get wrapped up in numbers as we're looking at things on an overall picture. But the bottom line is Trevor started in almost like a negative way versus those.
Sure.
Especially Mac, right?
When it comes to negotiating contracts, though, those stats and those numbers do come into play.
Yeah, they will come into play. But so I ask you this, because I'm a huge fan of Trevor. Like, I think he's the guy. And I've said this before. I said we could be a little bit blinded by the fact that we haven't had many good quarterbacks around here. I've been here 16 years and haven't seen a lot of good quarterback play. And he does things that none of the guys could do. He's just got a better skill set, and his upside is way better than any of them. So are we blinded by a little bit of that? Am I blinded by a little bit of that? I think everybody loves who he is, right? And what he's all about. It's hard not to like that part. So it's easy to root for. But do we overrate him in Jacksonville? Is he good enough? Is he the guy that should command this contract if you were to give it? Like I've said countless times, I would give him the check right now and not lose a night of sleep about it. Is that a poor job on my part to even say that? Do you almost have to see another year to make sure he's the guy by performance?
Well, I mean, you said it yourself. You don't see Trevor Lawrence as a top 5 quarterback, correct?
No, I don't think you could put him there. As big a fan as I am of him, do I see him someday there? Maybe, but he hasn't been, no.
Then is it right to give him top 5 money right now?
No.
Yeah.
No, but my house probably isn't worth what it's the market says it's worth too. Like I can come on that side. You know what I mean?
But then you could also, find other houses though as well. That would probably have better value. So my whole point is this. Should you pay Trevor Lawrence right now? You can throw the Josh Allen, scenario in my face and say if you would have paid Josh Allen last year, you wouldn't be in a situation right now paying him $100 and whatever million, make him the highest paid Jaguar of all time. I get all of that. But when it comes down to the quarterback position, history has shown that when you pay the quarterback, that top dollar, it takes away other things around you. And do you have a franchise right now? Do you have a team around you right now where if you pay Trevor Lawrence that much money that you're confident in terms of, you probably got to cut some other things off then? I don't think so right now. So I say run it back. Let's see what this kid's got, and let's see if he can truly be a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, and listen, here's the deal. I don't need him in Jacksonville, and I don't think Jacksonville needs him to be a top 5 quarterback. That's fine. I think to win in this league, you need to be a top 10 to 12 quarterback.
But hold up. When he was brought here, though, we were expecting him to be a top 5 quarterback, or not?
No, he is. But you're asking you told me to go get another house then, or whatever.
Well, no,
you're not going to go get another quarterback.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But what my point with that was okay, so if you don't think he's a top 5 quarterback, well, guess what? There's other quarterbacks out there that are probably better than him that probably should deserve the money over him. Not in Jacksonville. I'm just saying on the overall scale of the NFL.
And I would say that. I think that's true. I think the where you would slot him right now from a pay scale standpoint, from a performance standpoint, is not with all those guys. That doesn't mean you won't pay him that kind of money, though. I think like Daniel Jones was never worth 4 years, $160 million, but they were still forced to kind of pay those kind of dollars for him. I think we've seen that with a lot of different quarterbacks right now. So that's a little different conversation. But I just genuinely ask, do we over?
I think so. If you look at what the reception was when Trevor got here. People calling him the savior, people celebrating him. I get it, man. It's exciting. You get the number 1 pick overall. You get a quote-unquote generational quarterback. So, your expectations were set so high. So then maybe when those expectations weren't met, then it's okay, well, maybe it's Urban Meyer, right? Maybe it's this excuse over here. Not to say, Trevor Lawrence doesn't deserve all of the blame, because it's definitely not all on him. He did, he was behind the 8 ball a little bit with the Urban Meyer era. He has been behind the 8 ball in terms of drop passes, in terms of guys not doing their job, running the routes, all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, from what people envisioned him to what he is now, I don't think he's reached expectations quite yet.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. How much are the turnovers a concern? If I want to battle against myself, hey Brent, big Trevor fan, believe in Trevor, Trevor's a guy, pay him right now, all that stuff, ride with Trevor. If I battled against myself, I think I would go for the turnovers first. We saw Blake Bortles not be able to overcome it. Mm-hmm. We've seen other quarterbacks around the National Football League in years past be able to overcome it or at least deal with it because their skill set. You grew up watching Brett Favre. Mm-hmm. He was a guy that threw a lot of picks, right? Peyton Manning threw picks early, figured it out as he went along, rather quickly, by the way. The turnovers are there. The turnovers are real. The turnovers are hard to ignore. That's why you see some of these stats with the Daniel Jones comparisons or the Mac Jones. It's really based off the turnovers, even more than the wins-losses, I think. Mm-hmm. Is that a fixable thing? Is he going to fix that? Or are we looking at a quarterback that is super talented, can overcome turnovers, maybe like a Brett Favre and other players that we've seen over the years, but he's never going to really fix that problem?
I think every quarterback is different. I think what it comes down to Trevor Lawrence is sometimes he doesn't get the help from the supporting cast, so he tries to do too much. Now, that's not a right thing to do, right? If you're a quarterback, first and foremost, you protect the football. And I think sometimes he tries to play outside of himself to maybe make up for a lack of, whether it's a lack of big explosive plays, whether it's the drop balls, the penalties, whatever the case may be. I feel like Trevor Lawrence sometimes plays outside of himself because he feels like he has to. He doesn't have to. So, he has to get that out of his head. Now, is that fixable? I think so. I think Doug Peterson can have a long talk with him and say, hey, man, I've been there. And I know what you're going through, but we got to protect the football. But once again, if we talk about this year and we see the same type of things, well, now it's not just, mistakes. It's kind of your character trait. It's who you are. Yeah. So, once again, I'll be looking for this year because this is the biggest thing, Brent, and I'll keep echoing that till the cows come home. He should have all the pieces to be successful this year. There's no more Urban Meyer excuse. There's no more, well, guys can't get open. If your receivers can stay healthy, if your offensive line can stay healthy, you have the coach, we all think. There's really no more excuses not to be successful.
And I'll have to go back and look this up, but he might be in a situation where a quarterback hasn't been in my years here in Jacksonville, and that is a third consecutive year in the same system. I don't think there's been a guy like that. First of all, try to find a quarterback that's been here 3 years in a row.
Yeah,
Secondly, try to find one without a different offensive coordinator or a new coach. So to your point, yeah, the Urban Meyer thing's now way distant, but it's more you're in the same system. You've got stuff around you. They made improvements to the offensive line, or at least where there's a sore spot there. Their defense is going to be at least capable, I would think. You've got a Super Bowl winning coach. Like, yeah, I get you. I think you're out. I mean, I'm not sure how many more excuses. They've had some excuses. I don't know how many more excuses you could have. The other thing I say is he's an ultimate winner. He has been. But he hasn't been here in the NFL. Now, he ultimate win over the Chargers in a great second half of the year where we were starting to talk about him as a top 5 quarterback in 2022. And I think we might have been headed there again last year if it weren't for the injuries, which was unfortunate.
As a top 5 quarterback?
Well, he was getting hot.
Okay.
So I wonder if he was about to do the same thing.
Okay.
I mean, he played really well against Tennessee and Houston, and then he was playing really well in that Cincinnati game until he came out with like 6 minutes to go.
True.
I mean, he was on a trend before he got hurt to kind of start to do at the same time of year what he had done the year prior in 2022, where it really took off. And I don't know if that was just coincidence or what, but it looked like he was trending that way. How much does he have to? How quick now does he have to win? If he's got all these pieces, if he's in the third year, if he's already a winner, we know about it. How big does he have to win this year to kind of say, okay, maybe he fixed the turnovers, maybe this, but why isn't he winning more? I thought he was supposed to lead us to X. What is X?
Yeah. What is X?
Well, what is X like this year? I mean, X, I know what X is. I mean, in the grand scheme of things. X in your career is a Super Bowl, but
X has to be at the bare minimum. X has to be going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you're an elite quarterback, you can will your team to the playoffs. You can. Now, a lot of things have to fall into place, injuries, all of this stuff. But if Trevor Lawrence is who we think he is, then yes. We were talking about the Jaguars going to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I almost say, because if they go to the playoffs, let's just assume they win the division, which means he maybe outdoes or outperforms a guy like C.J. Stroud. Isn't that like in your own division right now, staying ahead of Houston, staying ahead of C.J. Stroud? That might be the greatest barometer for the Jags and for Trevor right now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll stay ahead of Houston for sure. C.J. Stroud, I mean, listen, he's going into his second year. Like, Trevor Lawrence has the one up on him right now just to say he's got to outplay C.J. Stroud. Well, yeah, man, you've been in the league a little longer than C.J. Stroud has. Now, weapons or whatever the case you're coaching, but, like, I don't even compare it to that. I just compare it to the fact of you got to be essentially a top 8 quarterback in this league this year. Now, hopefully you can grow and become a top 5 quarterback and you know, to say we want about the rankings and everything. And I don't even think like the Jaguars winning the division is going to be tough. Like I see them going to the playoffs, but it might be out of a wild card spot more than anything. Because I think Houston's going to be tough again this year. I really do. I think C.J. Stroud takes a step forward, and as a rookie, you saw what he can do. Give him another year of experience and let's see. But I think Jaguars can definitely go to the playoffs, but it might be in a wild card capacity.
Well, we put this out there a little bit, and Demetrius Harvey from Florida Times Union said, Brent, I heard calls and Jack's legitimately saying that Mac Jones could push Trevor. I don't think we overrate him at all. Well, you're listening to the wrong place, probably, Demetrius. If you listen to callers, push him how? On a swing? As otherwise? Somebody jumps in. And let's see how somebody else commented here. This was on Bulk. He appears to be all in for 2024. Not if he doesn't draft a true wide receiver 1. Amen. So a little comment on that. All right, so that was some Trevor talk. Really interesting to see where this goes. There's a lot that can shake out. And by the way, we also say this, and we have to acknowledge this, the competitiveness in the AFC is so damn good. I mean, so damn good. Nothing is easy. The path is not easy. You can make the case that for every team, for Houston, for any of the AFC East teams, for AFC North teams, it's as difficult as it's ever been. I think that's what is so impressive about what Kansas City did this year. They didn't feel as strong, yet it was the most difficult path they've probably ever had. And they had to get by Tom Brady and everyone else, but they had to do this one on the road against Buffalo and Josh Allen, on the road against Baltimore and Lamar Jackson, the MVP, and then in the Super Bowl against a very good San Francisco 49ers team. It's a very impressive run, probably not talked about enough, just how good the Chiefs did that. And they're going to have to do it again. It's going to be even harder, I think, the path to the Super Bowl in 2024 for any team than it was in 2023. We're live at BestBet St. Augustine, and we're here until 1 o'clock. We'll talk more about the NCAA tournament. We've got entries. We're going to pick one of those entries that will go against us over the next 3 weeks and potentially win some things. And how about Nick Gabrocek? Is this from already? Yeah, I think it is. This is from the Valspar Open, and he's playing in Palm Harbor, got an exemption. And if this is from his opening round today, he's already +2, and that was a chip from Nick Gabrocek, who's a University of North Florida player playing in a PGA Tour event. In fact, they have a UNF Osprey alum also playing in this event, so it'll show you how good the UNF Osprey's golf program is. We're live at Best Bet St. Augustine, and we'll be right back.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we are a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 0.9% for eligible buyers on Terrains and no payments for 90 days. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-701-7549. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained. And they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
Thank you for making Action News Jax the best in Jax and Folio's Best of Jax 2023. Best TV station, Best TV newscast, Best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted Best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted Best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted Best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, Best news website and Best local blog, The Burrish Blog. Thank you for making Action News Jax local coverage you can count on.
Stop by the new car sales event happening right now at Greenway Kia at the Avenues. $500 in a job gets you in a Kia. And Michael Montiero and the staff here at Greenway Kia are here to make it happen. Experience great customer service and become a part of their family. And while you're here, check out the Kia Forte GT line, full of comfort, innovation, and has driver assist technology. And how about the affordable new Kia EV9, the fast-charging, all-new electrical SUV with high-performance capability, 3-row seats with 304 miles of maximum driving range. Over 1,000 new Kia models, some starting at $199 a month. And as always, get the 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Come shop at Greenway Kia at the Avenues, located on Phillips Highway. You can shop online at greenwaykiaattheavenues.com. And remember, $500 and a job gets you in a Kia at Greenway Kia at the Avenues.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Oh, Hammy keeps showing off his bracket. He's proud of this bracket. He loves it. The NCAA tournament is underway. I actually do like his bracket. He's got some fun stuff in here for Hamby. So he ends up with Houston as the champ. I don't mind that. Everybody else seems to have UConn. Hard to come out of that lower half and pick a champ, right? I think people going Houston, UConn seems to be a favorable pick.
Mississippi State in the Sweet 16, eh?
You know what's interesting? I think I had Zaga in Tennessee as well because I love Rick Barnes. I think Rick Barnes is a really good coach. I think he's underrated. So Mark Few, Rick Barnes in that Elite Eight I thought could be really good is how I got there. I like it, Hamby. I like what you're doing. You got some interesting picks there. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Brent and Austin show. Basketball's underway. Are you pointing to the TVs? Yes, it's on. CBS 47. We obviously have no noon show, right? This first game is on CBS 47, so that's a nice thing for the news department. I'll have to put together a newscast, at least today and tomorrow. We love the early games. The early games off and running, and Michigan State with an early lead over Mississippi State. All right, so here's what we did. We put out like minutes before the show. Come join our bracket. We got like 27 entries, I think, in, which is great. We didn't want too many. Maybe this was actually genius on Hamby's part that came up with this. We said we were going to pick one, and that person would represent like the people bracket, playing against Hamby's, mine, and yours. So basically, over the next 3 weeks, we're going to look at 4 brackets, and that person, if they beat one of us, we'll give them a little prize.
Yep.
If they beat 2 of us, the prize level goes up. And I'm thinking cash here. You can use right at Best Bet. Maybe that's where you got to do it. Maybe I get some Best Bet cash here in St. Augustine. And then the next level up is if you beat all 3. But I like the fact that we had a lot of entries here early on. And so what I'm going to do is anybody who also beats all 3 of us,
okay,
I'll send another gift.
Okay.
Maybe it's a Dream 18 hat or an Action Sports Jacks hat or something else. We'll make sure we do that. And you can win because I want you to be able to play along too and try to beat us. So, after all that said, the explanation, I just kind of we randomly just picked in a commercial. And we are going to go with, I like the sunshine and rainbows of this title.
Yes, sir.
You didn't know that it had to be in the title. I didn't either. But we like the sunshine and rainbows of Jags are back.
I like it.
Are they? We hope. So Zach Fortner, you're in.
Hope, Zach.
Everybody's now rooting for Zach Fortner. Maybe he'll take you to dinner if he becomes the winner. But again, even everybody else who is not going to be the people's bracket that we show each and every day and week here on the show going forward for the next few weeks, you got a chance to win something from our Action Sports Jacks team. But you got to beat us all. You got to beat Austin, Hamby, and myself in the points. And we'll keep track, of course, on this link that Hamby set up. So we're off and running. And tomorrow will be the first test of this, and we'll see how we did in the first round. 16 games today, 16 games tomorrow. I think you guys all know how it works. Explain your bracket away a little bit, Austin. If you want to go pick an early upset here or there, or I can do it as well. Okay. I have UConn going all the way to the Final Four. Elite Eight, and then I have Iowa State beating them.
Okay.
How about that?
I mean, that's not a bad pick.
I got Auburn, I think, into the Sweet 16. I have Duquesne making a little run. So there's an 11.
You and Hamby.
BYU, and then beat Illinois.
Okay.
So Duquesne's kind of my fun pick out of that bracket. Houston, I couldn't get anybody to upset them. I really wrestled with Houston and Duke. James Madison is an interesting pick. I got them beating your Wisconsin Badgers. I'm sorry.
Easy, Brent.
Seems like they're very good in sports, especially when it comes to tournament time stuff.
James Madison?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't even realize until after. I did this before. I read the 11s have become the new 12s, but I got NC State, who's been hot coming out of the ACC, beating Texas Tech. They'll eventually lose to Kentucky. I have Florida. Not only winning the first round game, which they've been very good at recently, if I read correctly, and then I have them beating Marquette. Sorry, I'm killing all your hometown teams.
Oh, you're all good, man. Yeah.
And I almost had them beating
out some
UK.
money to the guy that's playing us, but okay.
But SEC has been pretty strong this year.
Yes.
And I almost picked, in fact, I had Florida beating Kentucky, but I think that injury is going to catch up with them somewhere in here, down there on the post. So I've got UK beating Florida at that top. So, Houston ends up winning it, that bracket. So it's Houston and Iowa State in the top bracket. UNC, I've got them all the way to the Elite Eight, but then I have Clemson making a run out of the 6 hole. How about that?
I have them losing the first round.
Yeah, I think you're not going to be alone there. So, but hey, you got to take some chances.
Let's go.
I do have a 12-5 winner with Grand Canyon, and then I have Grand Canyon beating Alabama.
Okay.
So I'm throwing for a little madness there in that lower left bracket, if you're paying attention. So Clemson goes to the Final Four, which would be odd, but what the heck. Purdue ends up matching up with Gonzaga. I've got Gonzaga and Tennessee meeting, and I have Gonzaga beating Tennessee. So I end up in my Final Four with Houston, Gonzaga, Iowa State, and Clemson. And I've got Iowa State beating Clemson, and Houston over Gonzaga, and Houston wins the national championship. That's how I got there.
So you guys aren't worried about that last game from Houston? Because Hamby's got Houston winning it too.
Yeah, I mean,
losing by 30 points doesn't scare you guys whatsoever.
Well, it does scare me, but I'm wondering who scares me matchup-wise with Houston in that bracket. It's really hard. Like, again, Duke, I don't even know if Duke's going to get the chance to play Houston. They're a tough team to figure out. They've not been good over the years, really most recently in the tournament when they've made it. Houston's just better than Duke. So that's my tough thing, really. It wasn't just that I've got confidence in Houston so much. I really try to find a way to get these top guys out, and it's really hard sometimes. And I think in that part of the bracket, it's really hard. Like, I can see Kentucky getting upset early. I'm not sure Florida's going to make it through there. I don't mind your Marquette pick. I'm sure you're going to have them going pretty deep. Marquette's pretty good.
They're going pretty deep.
So I really think that's part of it. It's Houston, I think, has a path that's, I don't want to say simple, but I think is tough for anybody to bounce them out.
So my Final Four is comprised of Connecticut, Arizona, Marquette, and Tennessee. And actually, listen, I'm a sucker for storylines. The Big East is the big storyline this year. I have Marquette taking on UConn in the final. I think people sleep on Marquette a lot because, got blown out a little bit in the conference tournament. People forget, though, that they have the best guard in the nation in Tyler Kolek, and guess what? Guy hasn't played in almost a month, and he's supposed to be coming once again. A lot of my gamble here is the fact that this Tyler Kolek player or not. Shaka Smart said that when they came back for the championship, he was in the gym till like 11 o'clock, so I feel like he's going to play, coming off of an oblique injury. Not really sure in terms of obliques, how long they take to heal, but I'm taking Shaka Smart's word here. I'm trusting the doctors of the great state of Wisconsin, Brent, and the healthcare system that is Wisconsin, and I'm trusting that they can get Tyler Kolek ready to play, because we always talk about it's not a big man's game in the tournament, it's a guards tournament, and he is, if not the second best, the best guard in NCAA, and they've been just fine without him. You throw him in the mix, I have them going to the championship game, but I have UConn winning the whole thing.
The thing about it is it's not just that he comes back. Mm-hmm. It's that can he play well when he comes back? That's a lot of rust to overcome, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of rust, but you get the sense that he's been practicing with the team and everything. Yeah, there could be some rust involved, but keep in mind, his game isn't really predicated in terms of having to be a legit scorer either. His game is predicated off being facilitator and running the point. And I think, like, if you're going to shake off rust, I'd rather shake off rust at the point as opposed to you got to be the go-to scorer as well.
Yeah, so that's there's a look at the Final Four for us, and you had you said UConn winning it all.
UConn
like
winning it all.
People.
I think I have Houston getting bounced by A&M pretty early on.
That'll be interesting to see. That's why. I mean, there are a lot of teams like that going to run. You just don't know. Like your point is a good one on Houston. They got blasted. Is it NC State that's now going to keep winning, or was 5 in a row enough?
Mm-hmm.
Like you just. There's no magic formula for this thing, and not even 12 seeds anymore. You got to go down, move to the 11. And I really think, and I've said this for a month now, I said this coming around the A-Sun tournament, I think this thing is going to be wild. I think it's fascinating, wide open. I think the games are going to be good. I think the style of play now in college basketball is more entertaining. They're scoring more points. I think we're going to get a little bit of it all. Now, do we get the buzzer beaters? I think that is like just luck of the draw, because are you going to have the shot, and is it going to go in and all that? But I think we're going to see overtime games. I think we're going to see a very competitive couple of days here, and then a couple of days on the weekend until we get to that Sweet 16, and my guess by then you're getting pretty competitive games as well. The one thing that's tricky here, and it's like the first 4 games, is like Virginia. You just don't know if somebody's just not going to show up. Like they didn't handle the whole situation well. It's different. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that gets thrown out of the window here is also home court. Home court road records. There's nothing to go on. I mean, sure, these teams play neutral court games, but even these neutral court games are usually a bit different. We're now in big arenas, for the most part. So, in that respect, Austin, it's kind of goofy, actually, what the NCAA tournament does.
Yeah.
They take you away from kind of the setting that most play in all year.
Yeah,
and they put you in this.
Well, that's why it's the equalizer. I mean, keep in mind, sometimes, like in terms of regions, like they cater to being more regionally friendly to the higher seeds.
Well, they do from a home standpoint.
Yeah.
But these big arenas, most people don't play college basketball.
True.
You know, I mean, even Duke, who's great program, it's a small gym.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an arena.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people have criticized over the years about, like, the Final Four. It's the depth perception from a shooting standpoint and everything else, because you're trying to stuff 80,000 people into Lucas Oil Stadium, or this year, obviously, out in Phoenix, where they're doing it. So it's it is pretty different. And that's, I think, why you don't know how people are going to react. You can be very good, but the whole thing about the NCAA tournament is unique to what you really do the whole year. I don't know if all sports are like. It's kind of like the Super Bowl when it goes, the 2 weeks off, right? The hype around it, the going out for a game a week early, where you don't go. You really change your whole routine for this one game, and I think when you do that, you bring in the unknown, because you just don't know how creatures of habit are going to actually respond.
Well, and we talk about creatures of habit in terms of fatigue. I mean, you talk about playing a conference championship series, then you have to go right to that, then you play NCAA tournament. You know, I mean, you have teams coming in here that maybe play 1 or 2 games a week, and all of a sudden you're playing back to back to back. So it's a lot more wear and tear on your body. So I think also teams that are healthier, in better shape, have a giant advantage here as well.
All right, one final time out here on the Brent and Austen Show. We're live, BestBet St. Augustine. Got the games playing already. Got our show up there. Parimutuel TVs ready to go in case you're into that and want to come by and do that. The full bar, full menu. We're going to be rocking all day long here as the NCAA tournament gets going. Opens at 10 in the morning. We'll be back out here tomorrow for the show. Starts right at 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. So a couple of days down here, BestBet St. Augustine. Heck, you can stay in the house if you want. You don't have to drive all the way up to the beach.
Oh, yeah, man. Let me stay.
We're just making
I'll tell Rollins to come over as well.
Making a 48-hour event here on the Brent and Austen Show. And hope to see you down here. Yeah, put it on the calendar for tomorrow. If you're looking for a place to watch the games, have some lunch, spend some time with us as the NCAA tournament tips off, and you can watch the first game on CBS 47.
A Live Credit Union cares about our community. After all, it was founded by people in our community 70 years ago by a group of Florida Blue employees. And the mission still is to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. In here, they are more than just a bank. You can find Alive in the community, providing financial education to our youth, sharing programs that are geared toward building credit and rebuilding credit, and supporting causes with amazing organizations like the American Lung Association. This March, Alive Credit Union will be back for the 6th time as a longtime sponsor of the American Lung Association's Fight for Air Climb. The event is March 23rd downtown. Get your team of climbers, family, friends, co-workers. The event will be emceed by Action News Jax's Garrett Biedenbaugh. Be a part of our community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Navigating to that perfect car can be a daunting task. Trust me, I understand, but if you want to find the perfect blend of sales and service for your automotive needs, look no further than the Tom Bush family of dealerships.
Here at Tom Bush, they do things right. Dating back to 1970, they've been a staple in the community, giving back and keeping everything local. With 4 different brands to choose from, BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, and many, there's a car for every member of the family, and the customer service is second to none. Looking to add an electric vehicle to your fleet? Tom Bush remains at the forefront of new technology with plenty of staff on hand to walk you through the future of driving and help eligible customers file for that EV tax credit.
Whether you're looking for your future driver's first car or you want to step up to luxury and arrive in style, the Tom Bush family of dealership is the only stop that you need to make.
Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory at tombush.com.
Go where all the pros go. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute takes care of athletes at the highest level, like the Jacksonville Jaguars players. They will take care of you, too. Our team covers a lot of teams here in Jacksonville: FSCJ, JU, the Axemen, the Jumbo Shrimp, the Sharks, and, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars. JOI covers all those teams as well. And then there's youth sports. My kids play baseball and softball. And whenever we have an injury question, the first call is to JOI. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute has been serving Jacksonville for 30 years, and they have over 30 specially trained physicians and assistants at 5 locations in the area. If your injury is specific to an area of the body, JOI has a specialist. They also are leaders in robotic surgery, joint replacement, and sports medicine. JOI Rehab has 13 locations and 90 therapists to get you better. Comprehensive care with caring physicians and staff at JOI. From youth sports to high school, college, and the pros, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. JOI. Go where all the pros go.
Get outside.
Yeah. All right.
Make friends.
Yeah.
Learn life lessons with the First Tee.
Golf is kind of like life in a way.
You can take some stuff you learn on the course and take that and use it in every single day life.
Donate to First Tee's Play Day campaign and everybody wins.
For every $10 you've donated, you're entered to win a free round with a buddy.
At the stadium course, home of the players, with this guy, Len Matisse. Scan the code on your screen or visit actionnewsjax.com to learn more.
I'm Action News Jax First Alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. While the sun is up and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jax This Morning team, helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Played a little Pac-Man last night, not going to lie.
How'd it go?
It actually wasn't great, but it made a nice rally. I died early and still was able to hang on for quite a bit. So I was pretty happy with the performance overall. Went from miserable to pretty impressive. Hung on.
See, I'm the type where if I die early on, Brent, I'm restarting the game.
Well,
yeah,
I do that on occasion, too.
Okay.
But I didn't for this. I only had like a 10-minute window. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to just see how much I can get in. And so I ended up playing, and it was okay. Like, I haven't been playing enough to get, like, I'm not even coming anywhere close to where I've been. So I got to hit the Pac-Man a little bit more. Been way too busy to be playing even the Pac-Man as much as I'd like to be doing. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, Brent and Austin Show. We're live at BestBet St. Augustine. Really cool. The layout here is fantastic if you haven't been. Super clean, brand new. Table games right behind us. We got some folks playing along. Got the poker the poker layout, and the tables all a little bit behind us, even further away. The rooms are kind of separated a bit, if you will. Got the bar and full menu. Sushi opens up around 5 o'clock in the evening. Of course, this place will be rocking all night long. And going on right now, if you're sitting at a table from 12 until midnight today and tomorrow with the NCAA tournament going on, with our show being here. This goes throughout all the way till midnight. Every half hour, they're going to tap somebody on the shoulder, give you $100. So there's a lucky seat winner every 30 minutes here at BestBet St. Augustine from now until midnight tonight and then 12 to midnight tomorrow. So come on out, say hello, hang with us, watch some games. Games are on, and we're just talking, having some fun with the NCAA tournament, and, of course, a lot of football talk as we always do. If you're catching up, Mark Long shared this from Gators Pro Day, which has been a very quiet one. He's actually shared several things saying this might be the worst pro day in the history of the Gators. They really don't have a lot of players out there. And then Ricky Pearsall decided not to do any drills. And word on the street was Trent Baalke was scheduled to go watch, presumably Pearsall. And once he heard that he wasn't working out, he didn't show up. Now, there are 31 teams there. The Jags are there in Gainesville, but not necessarily Baalke is the story from Mark Long. So that got us talking a lot about the receivers and how aggressive are they going to be. Is this another indication, which I think it is, that they are definitely looking to grab another weapon on the offensive side of the football for Trevor Lawrence? That leaked into aggressive or conservative. How do you view Trent Baalke, the GM of the Jags? And also, we talked a little bit more about Trevor Lawrence and how he is feeling going into year 4 here in Jacksonville and this big contract potentially on the horizon. So just some of the topics that we've talked about here today on the show from BestBet St. Augustine. You can always check it out on any of these social media channels, our YouTube channel, Action Sports Shacks. Just subscribe to it. And, of course, on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 network, the show replays. So if you miss any of it, just pop it on, download the app, click video, and we are right there. Or just go to actionnewsjacks.com. A couple other things to tell you about up at Best Bet Jacks. Already underway is Run Good Main Event Day A. Not day 1, day A. They have a day A, B, and C. It's a $1,200 buy-in, but a $300,000 purse if you get into the Sunday main event final day. So there is a big event going on, Best Bet Jacksonville, the Run Good, and you can get in it starting really right now. And if you want to do so, for a big payday on Sunday, potentially. All right, NCAA tournament underway. We've got Zach Fortner, who is going to be playing against us. He's the guy. He's the people's champ right now. He's going to try to beat you and me and Hamby along the way. You have UConn. I have Houston. Hamby has Houston, which now I'm mad about that I have Houston. He has Hamby.
Cute. You guys must call each other.
Most of America has UConn. A lot of people, you just said, have Marquette losing early.
Correct. I have them going to the finals. So we'll see.
You have them going to the finals, which could be a very good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe you outsmarted everyone.
We'll see. I hope my Golden Eagles can pull it through. My Golden Eagles, like I played for them. But, I'm a Wisconsin guy. And yes, Marquette is in Wisconsin. Some people don't even understand that.
Who is, Wisconsin or Marquette? Who would you take?
In the tournament this year?
No, who's your team?
In basketball?
Yeah.
Honestly, I have 3 Marquette jerseys and 0 Wisconsin jerseys.
Really?
Yeah, that's because of Dwayne Wade. Obviously.
Yeah. Marquette's it's interesting that Shaka Smart couldn't win at Texas big, but he's done a hell of a job at Marquette.
Yeah, I think, you know, and you can call it the NI, whatever you want to call it with the success in Marquette, but I just feel like Shaka Smart, like Marquette's a basketball school, right? So
Yeah,
like they cater to the basketball program. I think Texas basketball, even though they've had some great players come through there, has always kind of been a secondary thing.
Michigan State up 29-18. Duquesne, who is an upset bid for me and probably many others, 12-5 lead over BYU. They were just up 12-2 in the first 6 minutes. So Duquesne with the early lead. Story we didn't get to yesterday, but you had it, and I want to get to it. What's the whole deal with the egg sandwich or the egg with Mike Williams and the New York Jets?
So Mike Williams signs his contract. A diehard Jets fan says, "Hey, Mike, welcome to New York. A little different than maybe Los Angeles. Try one of these New York egg sandwiches." So it wasn't Uber Eats. I want to say it was one of the food delivery things, whatever, Grubhub, whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
gets it delivered to the facility and gives them specific instructions. The driver who received this is like, take this to the Jets practice facility. Give it to a Mike Williams, and tell him welcome to New York. So the whole time the driver is taking, he's obviously monitoring this, and then the guy that ordered the food is also screenshotting this, putting it on his social media, and lo and behold, the guy gets to the gate, explains what's going on, they let him through, they gave Mike Williams the sandwich, Mike Williams ate said sandwich when he was signing his contract, and it became such like a big thing yesterday that the Jets actually changed their Twitter profile now, their picture, to the sandwich.
That's a way to play along.
Way to play along, man. I mean, Jacksonville had its own little fair share of that with a toaster and Trevor Lawrence, and now Mike's getting the taste of the egg sandwich.
I like when the teams kind of put their arms around it a little bit more, right? Mm-hmm. That's, I think, a good thing to do. So, and credit to the Jets. I bet they would have a new sponsor coming up now, whoever that was.
Yeah, you would think so. By the way, I mean, I've never been to New York City and had like a legit or like a New York egg sandwich, but that thing looked really tasty. I'm a big egg sandwich guy.
Never been to New York City?
I mean, like I've never like seen the sights.
Really?
No, never. Been to Albany. Been in New Jersey for the Giants and Jets games, but never been to actually in the city of New York.
Wow, you got to get there.
I guess.
Go there. I mean, Jonesing to get there.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah, I hear you.
We'll see. Really good food though. So
it is good food, and it's a good. I mean, New York's always New York.
Yeah,
that is for sure, and a good place to be. All right, we're getting out of here. This is a good place to be. BestBet St. Augustine. It's been fun hanging out. We got less than a minute to go in the show. Happy NCAA Tournament Day. We'll check on our picks tomorrow, of course. Enjoy all the games. CBS 47 and other places, of course, to watch some of the games here on this opening day of the 2024 NCAA Tournament. Join us again tomorrow, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. right here at BestBet St. Augustine. And we will see you here for lunch tomorrow on a Friday. Get out of work. Come join us. Have a good rest of your Thursday, everybody.